I'm not much of a reader, ladies and gentlemen, but I can tell you what, over the last 2 years, I've not been able to put this book down. For this guy last year, it was all full of pain, but for this year, it was complete glory. Cody Rhodes has finally finished the story. Welcome to the stream. Cody's done it. Roman has been pinned in a singles match for the first time since 2019. Of course, Baron Corbin was the last person to do that. I know Jey Uso pinned Roman last year. It was in a tag team match. Cody's done it. Roman's long reign is finished. We're on to a bright future in WWE. A lot of championships have changed. It's the WrestleMania 40 review, by the way. We're going to do Saturday and Sunday together, but we're going to kick things off by talking about the one, the only Mr. American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes himself. NXT is joining me in a hot seat, and let's get your thoughts initially of a new WWE champion.
Dude, I am nearly 40 years old, and the emotion that I felt when this guy won, I mean, Samantha Irvin perfectly summed up how everyone was feeling, because she struggled to get through the emotion of pronouncing him as the winner. And I was like, damn, man. Like, I was seeing people on X just like bawling, like grown men just honestly bawling their eyes out. And dude, I was close to it, man. Like, I'm telling you, since I've had kids, I've gone soft, but I was like this close, man. I was like, wow, what an amazing weekend. Like a very strange weekend, almost a tale of two halves. But to finish with that, just phenomenal, man. Like, I know you obviously didn't have the pleasure of watching it live like I did, but I texted you this morning and went, phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Absolutely, and it really was. Watching it over, obviously, I've not long finished the show. I've literally finished it probably about an hour ago at that. So a lot of the things I'm going to be feeling going to be quite fresh, quite like in the moment kind of thing. So things haven't fully settled for me. So I may say a couple of things that maybe feels quite adventurous today. But damn it, I'm happy. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. And as Michael Cole screamed at the end of this show, in love with professional wrestling. It feels like we're moving away from sports entertainment, professional wrestling, and of course Roman Reigns is what is the personification of sports entertainment. This the drama, the bloodline, everything that's been there, the chosen one if you want. But Cody, he's been the one that's had to fight to get everything, scratch and claw to everything. He's the definition of what professional wrestling is. And obviously we're under this new era, the Triple H era, Paul Levesque era, whatever you want to call it. Cody apparently is trademarked to the Renaissance era. The symbolization from everything there to the celebration at the end of the show to something I don't think I've seen since I was a kid, with all these different baby faces coming into the ring, helping and celebrating with Cody Rhodes. See the likes of LA Knight, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins just about hobbling in his Shield gear, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, the list goes on. CM Punk, John Cena, and obviously his mum there, Mama Rose there, and he finally got to give the championship to her. What an emotional, what a WrestleMania moment that's gonna live with everybody forever, I dare I say.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even like Brandy coming out at the start as well during his entrance, and she got a massive pop, and I was like, my god, even the littlest thing like that, like Roman's entrance was phenomenal. Cody with the giant skull, Brandy, just set the tone for what you knew was going to be an incredible night. And yeah, I can't remember the last time we've seen something like that. Maybe, I'm pretty sure Bret Hart is coming to the top of my head. I'm sure we've seen maybe Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation do that same sort of thing, and that was 25, 30 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And it's just so special to see, man. Like, dude, just watching everyone. Punk was in tears, man, as well. You could see it, and it was just like, dude, it came across to me as like you could see on his face alone that there is a reason to be in love with sports entertainment again, man, to be in love with WWE all over again. And yeah, hey, man, I'm a Paul Levesque guy, man. If that's the kind of stuff we're gonna get, dude, I am so looking forward to the future. I am, like, we was excited going into the weekend with predictions, like, because it was Triple H's first whole WrestleMania, that it was down to him. And then night one was kind of like a bit weird, bit strange. I'm sure we'll talk about it when we get into it. But night two just honestly blew me out the water. Like, it's the same as last year. Night 1 WrestleMania last year was phenomenal, but Night 2's this year, just honestly insane and crazy. I loved it, man.
Yeah, me too. I mean, obviously, to just go on, obviously, Mike here, thank you, Mike, for joining us, by the way, to give his review there for night 1, 8.5. And as you spoke to on social media, he said really enjoyed that first night. But night 2, like I says, there 9.5, incredible from top to bottom, one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Rank it second there. So clearly, high praise immediately from Mike there. And I've got to say, Mike and I was a long-term wrestling fan. So obviously, for him, he's seen a lot of WrestleManias. He's attended WrestleManias as well, which is really cool. But one thing I looked from this and it really struck a chord with me particularly is when I look back at, like, you know, myself being an older fan. You're kind of an older fan as well. Sorry to brush you with the same tarnish as me, but
I fit that demographic.
We've been around the block. We're these people when they go, "What's the best WrestleMania of all time?" And without even hesitation, WrestleMania 7 comes straight off the tongue, through the lips, and before you know it, you've said it. And even though, you know, every wrestling fan hearing it back goes, "Oh, you're one of you again, you're one of those." I feel now for the modern wrestling fan. Think of those fans that have not been there for, you know, say the last 10 years, newer wrestling fans, one of those that were not around for this time period. Yes, there's been some good WrestleManias. You look at Daniel Bryan 10 years ago. That was something to grab onto. Yes, okay, you look and say WrestleMania 31, much better than intended to be, but this is something special. This is something different. The whole culmination of the result was a WrestleMania moment, not just a WrestleMania moment. I think it's a moment in history that I think fans of older and newer can understand. This is new, and this is going to be the new way for WWE moving forward. It's something that everyone's going to recognize as one of the, you know, groundbreaking moments of perhaps the next 10 years in WWE, and people will understand when all wrestling fans then turn around and say, this is the best WrestleMania, and this is the WrestleMania, and this is the best WrestleMania, like all those things that people can throw at Cody and Roman, and you're within your right to. You're totally within your right to. I think as an older fan, I understand it, and do you know what? I can turn around and say to a degree, I may even agree with it in a few days' time. I won't let the dust settle completely, but what I will say is that is definitely one of, if not the best WrestleMania of all time. And oh goodness, that is a night 2 as a whole show. Damn, that's good. That is good. And if you look at WrestleMania 7, just to make a small comparison, this is why I'm going to make the points here. People say, well, night 1, Jimmy and Jay wasn't that good. Okay, fair enough. What about the match before that? You know, with the, you know, all the NFL stars getting involved at the end of Rey Mysterio's match. Not a great end to that match. Totally agree. But you look back at WrestleMania X7. I mean, we had the gimmick battle royal in that somewhere. It was comedy light relief in the middle of the show. You had APA and Taz and the 6-man tag were right to censor. You know, it was just the feeling and the aura and the importance of that WrestleMania that made it so special. It wasn't just necessarily the in-ring quality, it was something that just you were feeling. You on a momentum, a train wave of, because, you know, WWE had won the war. They'd won over WCW, won over ECW. That was something so special. And with this, it's the same feeling because you knew the momentum was there. The fans have got what they wanted. Cody is the chosen one. He is the one that fans want, and fans got what they wanted because we see there's a documentary going to be coming out, you know, with in a couple of days' time. Triple H, The Rock, and there's discussions what's going to be for WrestleMania 40. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be amazing. And obviously the Cody momentum, and it's changed everything. They called an audible, and clearly they've done what the fans wanted. And I think that's a special feeling within itself. The fact that Roman has been champion, what feels like forever at this point. We now wake up today and go, Roman's not champion. Damn it, what a run. When you look back at it, yes, I know at the end a lot of people were like, we need him to lose the title. He's not been around so much. But you look at Roman, I mean, they even explained over the weekend, Roman still goes through, you know, medication and stuff to do with leukemia and stuff like that. He still comes and performs at the highest level each and every time he does. The man's remarkable for the run he's had. Unbelievable for what, 1,300 odd days? Hats off to it. It may not even be beaten in our lifetime. That's how good and long of a reign it is. And comparing to the people of the past, those people didn't defend the title like Roman's been doing here. It's a different ball game altogether. So for me, you know, I'd say Roman's probably the best to ever hold it. Probably is. And Cody now has this opportunity now to be the guy going forward. And do you know what? He's the people's choice to do so. He holds the most important championship. There's something very special about this. And the thing is, the hype and the buzz now it's going to go into Raw after Mania. You know, you're setting off with the right tone immediately. It's going to be ridiculous. Yeah, I cannot wait for it. The surprises may be there, which we will try and talk about at the end of this video if we get an opportunity and time allows us to. But like the idea of, like, you know, we might get championship matches, might get heel turns, might get returns, surprises, NXT call-ups. All of that could come in one fair swoop. But we're going to start off with what we wanted to see for 2 years since he came back, and that's Cody finished the story. He's done it. He's done it for Dusty. He's done it for Mama Rhodes. He's done it for himself. He's done it for the fans. It's just it's epic. People, the kids these days, cinema. It's everything and everything more. And to be fair, this is something that could be actually made into a movie further down the line. Cody Rhodes' story.
Yeah.
The fact he was, the legacy Stardust had to go away and start
undesirable
AEW.
This was the thing. This was the plug line that they missed out on. Was it's undesirable to undeniable to undisputed.
Yes,
that's the one. And dude, this for me is the defining moment. Like every time we look at when we changed, when we went from the ruthless aggression, we went from the attitude era to the ruthless aggression era to whatever, there's always a defining moment where you can turn around and go, that's the moment where it changed. This win for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania is that defining moment where we move into whatever it be, the Renaissance era, whatever it is. This right here is the defining moment.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely incredible. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. But I suppose we will go into our comments. So thank you for putting your comments in. Thanks so much. Like the video already so far. We really appreciate all the support. It really does mean a lot and helps this channel grow massively. But what I would say just quickly is we just need to talk about this match because we talked about everything surrounding it, the result. But let's just go in and dive in and relive the match just for a minute because it's special. I mean, the idea as well, obviously, Cody had lost the night previously to The Rock, obviously. So what was not going to be a one-on-one fight, it was going to be bloodline rules. That was special in and amongst itself. And obviously, from that moment onwards, you could see Roman from the get-go, that powerful entrance. I love with the orchestra and that. It felt like, this. We hear about The Rock being the final boss, but it was like, this is the guy. This is the guy that's not been able to be beaten. And I don't know, it felt something special with his entrance come to the ring. Like you say, Cody with Brandy obviously there, and as with the skull thing as well was awesome as well. But Roman was cocky from the get-go. He just felt like this is an easy night at the office. He was putting the seeds of doubt in Cody's mind. They fought into the crowd. They came back, and every opportunity that Roman did, he would try and just dominate, slow the pace down, use the kendo stick to get obviously the advantage as well when Cody was starting to get on top at one point earlier in the match. But obviously, look, we get to a point where we get near the finish. It looks like Cody is going to start getting things going with the crossroads, and obviously it's bloodline rules. We knew interference was going to happen. This is the point of bloodline rules, and obviously Jimmy Uso was the first one with the super kick stopping that third crossroads, and obviously from that point then it looked like Roman was going to get the victory. Cody kicks out, obviously, and that's when we see Jey Uso make his appearance from this, takes out Jimmy Uso. Obviously, they go diving off the stage through tables, and that's them completely ruled out. Fantastic, really fun spot, really great bump in that as well. Obviously, from that point onwards, who's next over to stop things when we got the multiple crossroads? It's Solo Sikoa. Obviously, Solo Sikoa doing the spike. And what I really liked about this, and we will talk about this more probably later in the stream than now, but Roman kind of feels like the head of the table guy. Lost that moniker a bit this weekend, if you ask me. The amount of times that he's actually had to answer to other members of the bloodline is fascinating. And that will be discussed more later. But obviously, in Solo's case, Solo's doing it because Solo's seen as the heir. And obviously, with the spike going on, and Solo's like saying, come on. Like, it's like, Roman's like, I know. It's like, it's just one of those things that 6 months ago, a year ago, that would have been different. Role was reversed, and Solo would know to stay in his lane. He was no way going to sing that national anthem. You knew it was not going to happen. But I had to get that in there quickly. But obviously, then the save is made. And who else? And who better than John Cena? We teased the idea that Cena probably could appear, and who better to go for Solo? Obviously, the last time we'd seen Cena, he was destroyed by Solo at Crown Jewel. So it just feels like that could have been almost a plan from then to here. It just feels long-term storytelling. Perfectly executed. Solo attitude adjustment through the announcers table, the Spanish announcers table, old school. You've got to love it. And obviously at that point, that's when we get the Rock's music. And oh goodness, I tell you what, there was a moment where I was just popped because obviously Cody and Roman just out of it at this point, and you just think to yourself, like, we're getting a throwback here to thrice of a lifetime. Obviously WrestleMania 28 and 29. Who knew we were getting at WrestleMania 40? And obviously we just had the stare down like it was like Hogan and The Rock at WrestleMania 18 vibe as well. So that's something for the modern fans as well. Just brilliant how it was executed. The look each side, look back, and obviously Cena goes for the one hit, misses, rock bottom from that point onwards. And then you think, right, okay, who's going to take the Rock out? And obviously we all thought it was going to be probably, if people are thinking about it, we all saw the coach thing and thought Steve Austin. Would Austin be the guy? But instead we got someone different. The lights go out and we just get a dong. And to be honest,
dude,
go on.
You missed Seth.
I miss
Shield, Sierra Hotel, India Echo Lima Delta.
I tell you what, though, Seth's role was so small in his become because he was so battered from everything he'd done over the weekend. Yeah, to be fair, Seth, there's a little bit of token from Seth that's later on, which is absolutely genius, by the way. But yeah, I missed the Seth one. Apologies. There was a moment with me that I'm not gonna lie. I was like, is Moxley here? Like, I genuinely thought myself.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
There's no problem with AEW and CM Punk stuff. WWE have got Moxley, and it's fine. It wasn't the case. It was just Seth coming down, obviously, not as well executed as the Rumble a couple of years ago, but yeah, he was taken out very, very quickly, obviously. And I think Roman speared him, didn't he? Stopped The Rock at that point. Then we got the gong with The Undertaker. I do apologize for getting the wrong order. I'm hyped, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, at this point,
I've just had a quick note to this.
Go for it.
I'm actually happier that it was The Undertaker and not Austin.
Yeah, me too.
For me, because I was expecting Austin, and the fact that we got Undertaker, dude, crowd popped phenomenally. It was amazing.
Because, like you say, because we didn't see that coming, it was, if not 10 times better. And just the fact that Rock as well, the final boss, then obviously then has to meet the guy that was undefeated at WrestleMania for like 20 odd years. It's just like, you couldn't write that better of a case of like chokeslam, Rock's out of it. Brilliant.
Don't forget when Roman beat Taker at Mania as well, and Roman walks out the next night and goes, "This is my yard now." So there is some sort of logic to Taker being there.
Exactly. And it's perfect. It's poetic justice. And the thing is, with every legend that comes out as well, like you say, they have the history. Obviously, seen as someone that's lost to Roman on a couple of occasions as well. And it feels as well like these legends also are passing that torch. This is going to be the guy. Cody is the guy. We trust in this person. We're putting our necks on the line as well for Cody being the future going forward. And obviously, like we said then, obviously Roman then gets up, obviously, after Taker goes away, because Taker doesn't wait to get battered by anybody else. Roman gets to his feet, and yes, Seth, who I'd forgotten, gets up along with Cody at the same time. Roman's got that steel chair. He's wondering who to hit with that chair. And it is actually the key moment of the entire match, because if he'd gone for Cody, could have been a different story. Seth was not really there for the taking, but it was literally reminiscence of what happened in Roles Reversed 10 years ago when the Shield broke up. Obviously, it was Seth with the chair, Roman with the back turned, the chair to the back. It was poetic justice the way it was done, excellently executed, and the way that Roman did that, because it was just felt like that's almost, it's not closure, because I'm sure they'll revisit it somewhere, but it just felt like that chapter of that part is, Roman's got his revenge on that. The problem is he turned then to Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes finishes the story. 1, 2, 3 crossroads, and this time there's no one to protect Roman Reigns. There was no other member of the bloodline present at that moment, and obviously that's when Cody gets the free count. And to be fair, with the announcement of finish the story on the free counts as well, the pop from the crowd, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited, ladies and gentlemen. That for me, outstanding. We don't even need to talk about star ratings for me. Like, give me all the stars. I'm just gonna throw it at this. It was amazing,
dude. Like I said, like I was so unbelievable against, and like I said, just hearing Samantha break down, that's actually the point where it set me off, and I was like, my God, this is unbelievably special. And like I tweeted out last night as well, and I said that the fact that the last 2 years, every time Cody has tried to hit the trifecta of Crossroads, he's always been stopped. Every time he's tried to do it, and same with like last night as well, when he tried to do it, he was stopped a couple of times. But that storytelling from that point, the fact that he finally hits that third one in a row, and it's the one to seal the deal, finish the job, bury Roman Reigns, and you've got Paul Heyman in the background screaming no. And dude, it was just poetic justice. And like I said, just unbelievably phenomenal. And like I said, when you got everyone coming out afterwards, and it seals that moment for me. Like, dude, like I said, this is why I stupidly stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning watching this stuff. Because if I hadn't stayed, I'm just that kind of person. I get serious FOMO. If I hadn't have seen that live, I would have been gutted. I would have absolutely lost my nut if I had not seen that live. But the fact that I can turn around in 10, 15, 20 years and say, do you know what? I'll watch that live. And honestly, one of the best nights of wrestling I've watched from a WWE point of view in a long time.
Long time. This is when the part of me that comes out, which maybe I may feel differently when the dust settles in a week or something like that. But I'm going to say ever, I feel night 2 is almost as perfect a night of wrestling on a show I may have ever seen, especially in modern terms, because I think it's some of the best shows I've ever seen. And there's great variety. There's great, not everything has to be a 5-star match throughout the entire show. There just has to be good variety, a feel good moment, something that makes me think, yeah, that was good the whole way through. And we'll go through night two. Obviously, we have to go through night one first, but when we get to night two, I'll probably explain my feelings in a better way. But I just felt good throughout this entire show. Everything flew by, nothing dragged. I just was having a great time. And for me,
Yeah.
that spells almost a perfect show.
Even things like if you like I said this, I was saying this. I think I said this in the predictions that if you looked at the two match cards, night one looked like the considerably better night, and I was like, this is weird. Like they've really booked this weird how they've got these matches on night one, these matches on night two, but night two was just effortless. Especially even when it comes to like the 6-man tag. No, what was it? Philadelphia Street Fight match. Didn't overstay its welcome. Do you know what I mean? It was fun. It was chaos. Being you had Bubba Ray as a special guest referee. Like it just and it wasn't as long as night one as well, because I think it was only something like I think it's 3 hours and 50 from start to finish, but like it doesn't feel like a nearly 4-hour show. Like I could it just honestly it flew by, man.
He did. He absolutely flew by, and I think that's what makes this. For me, when I sit there and go, like, I could watch that again. And without any hesitation, I could watch that tomorrow. I could watch that the weekend.
Yep.
I will go back and watch that show, and I will go and watch it with joy. And I can't say that with every wrestling show I watch. Like sometimes we do these retro stuff and like that. Then I'll give an excuse to go back and watch some shows, but I wouldn't necessarily go out my way to pick always those shows to watch. This one I would without any hesitation. So that's, I suppose, a overall review of night two. We should get into it, but what I will say is just before we go into all the matches, I want to give a shout out to everyone that's put comments in so far. We've put some up on the screen already. Apologies for not giving those shout outs, but thank you to everyone that is watching. I'll give a few shout outs now with some of the comments we are going through. Nubico say how random about the 6-woman tag team match. Said it was random. I think personally executed what it needed to do. Obviously, perhaps not be seen as a 5-star classic, but did what it needed to do on the night, putting over Jade. Obviously, Becky keeps her WrestleMania undefeated streak intact. Oscar, sadly for you, keeps her not winning streak at WrestleMania alive. That could be a storyline one year. Obviously, with R-Truth, he's actually fulfilled that storyline this year. Obviously, never won at WrestleMania, so it is a possibility for something down the line. But yeah, I think it was okay.
Yeah, for me, it was the smartest way to get Naomi, Bianca, and Jade all on the match card without necessarily having too much on the line in terms of win-loss. Like, kind of obviously one of the easiest matches to predict over the weekend, but like I said, their entrance alone, fantastic. Naomi with that crazy Mortal Kombat Kung Lao shiny bright hat was just incredible. And yeah, it was just like I said, just the safest way to get them free on the card. And I've got no complaints about it. I'm expecting bigger and better things next year because they will have a year to build towards it.
I completely agree with that. And I've just got to agree with C Nation's comments here. A couple of them we're going to pull up now, and we'll try and get into doing some of the matches and stuff like that as well. But CD says, going to feel weird to see Gunther without the title. Really is going to feel weird with that. Same with Roman Reigns as well. It's going to feel very weird with neither of them holding a championship. Obviously, since we're so close to getting KO and Sami as mid-card champions at the same time. Dang it, WWE. It doesn't always work out that way, unfortunately. But you know what? It was very, very good indeed. Hang on. We've got Ishan as well in the house. Thank you, Ishan. As it says, NXT saying undesirable to undeniable to undisputed makes that 39 loss not too bad because we got the undisputed title from it. So there's a great point made there. And I like the quote that you made.
If anyone had watched our review the other day where we went back and watched Cody versus Roman from last year, we had that same discussion that a year later, watching Cody take that loss, perfectly acceptable because we got this WrestleMania, and I will take Cody losing in Rome at 39 every single day of the week now for us to get WrestleMania 40 like that.
Absolute indeed here, and I agree with that as well. Absolutely makes perfect sense. Ishan says Undertaker 10 years after his streak ended was involved in Roman's streak ending. Absolutely, yeah, it's a good point you made as well. And obviously 7 years since Roman beat Undertaker in the main event as well. Last comment we're going to take just for the minute before we go and start making the review, because we're nearly half an hour in. We're not even touched on other matches on the show apart from Cody and Roman. There's a lot to get through. Mike says, what if Rock and Bloodline kick Roman Reigns out of the Bloodline tonight on Raw? Could be a possibility. Michael Cole did say not Michael Cole, sorry. It was either Pat McAfee or Corey Grace, forget which one said, I think it was Corey, said what next for the Bloodline, and Michael Cole said, who cares? well, maybe we should care. Rumors suggest that Roman Reigns is going to take a hiatus. Is going to go. Apparently, The Rock is on the alumni section of WWE's website going forward. Apparently, he's going to do some filming, so he's not going to be back for a little while. But potentially could do a write-off angle, and look, I don't think it's any surprise here. I mean, you are probably expecting The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania next year. To kick that off, they need to start something off in style, and they could do something like that tonight on Raw because Reigns has lost the title, which means he could effectively lose that title as head of the table. The bloodline could be of a real reshuffle.
I would probably wait till maybe Survivor Series and we get War Games, maybe, especially depending on if they plan on doing any surprise debuts, surprise returns, any call ups. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of rumors out today that, well, specifically from Jacob Fatu saying that he has signed for WWE, so take it with a pinch of salt. So, do you know what I mean? It's not yet been confirmed, and obviously there's the whole Tama Tonga may have personally signed with WWE. So the idea of maybe a new bloodline, maybe that's the way to go. We have old bloodline versus new bloodline. Then that entail will lead to the Usos reforming as a tag team. So who knows? But like, it's gonna be exciting to see, man. Like, I'm already cast for 41, and we've only just finished 40.
Are you suggesting we could get Bloodline Wolfpack?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go get my NWO Wolfpack shirt. One sec.
So, I mean, Eric asked us very early before we'd even started, said, what's your opinion of Jacob Fatu? Obviously, like you said, he signed with WWE. Obviously, if we're going to be left with Jimmy Uso and Solo as the only members of the bloodline, I like the idea of like a Jacob Fatu or a Tama Tonga or someone that could come in and fill the void and just keep that strength in the bloodline, because otherwise they could feel like, dare I say, a very watered down for the rest of the time until Roman and The Rock return. And you don't want that for the bloodline, obviously, because it has been a huge stable in WWE, obviously over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, and been the top storyline going. You don't want just a fade very quickly into the background to the point people will just lose interest and not care about it. Is this the best way to spice things up? I remember, for example, DX. Shawn Michaels lost the title at WrestleMania 14 to Steve Austin. Michaels obviously had the back injury, was written off. So Triple H reformed DX the next night on Raw, the Raw after Mania, with X-Pac, with the New Age Outlaws. It was a refreshed group moving forward. Could this just be what the bloodline needs here?
Possibly, but with Solo in his very minimalistic mic work, and with Jay, with Jimmy taking the loss off Jay at the weekend, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, I would imagine The Rock's going to show up tonight. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we get something with the bloodline tonight. It kind of makes what we need, something for them to not be on TV for the foreseeable future. So who knows? But like I said, it's a case of watch Raw tonight, and we'll have a much better picture by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think so indeed. I think we are going to get a much better picture once we have seen, obviously, Raw tonight, and obviously it'll be very exciting indeed. But let's go through some matches from WrestleMania. Obviously, there's a lot that's taken place. Obviously, the opener of this show from night one. So we're going for WrestleMania Saturday, folks, just to start things off then, and we'll work our way through to Sunday. And we'll try and get through the matches as quickly as possible so we get to your comments as well. Rhea Ripley defeating Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's World Championship. Obviously, Rhea retaining. She's one of the few champions to keep her title coming out of WrestleMania. Obviously, a few bits of backstage stuff has come out. Obviously, Becky Lynch was very ill going into this match. Obviously, she had a temperature, I believe, of over 100. 102. So, yeah, for us, that's about 38.3, what we would say for a temperature. Is very, very high. So the fact she managed to come through and pull through and have a really good match, credit to her for doing so. Apparently, Ripley also had a 2-hour panic attack before this match as well. So credit to both ladies for being able to, the nerves got there. They both came out. They both absolutely killed it. It was a very solid opener. Obviously, Becky was targeting the sort of damaged wrist that Rhea's had. She's had that protective cast on for a little while, and I thought it was good for the game plan. Obviously, it looked like that Becky was going to try and get the win with the manhandle slam off the second rope, but that was countered by Rhea Ripley. She did sort of the riptide, which sort of threw Becky into the turnbuckle, followed by a proper riptide in the ring, and Rhea Ripley was able to retain. For me, strong, solid opener. These two ladies really brought it, and for me, it was a great way to kick off WrestleMania. Actually, I thought this was a perfect choice to actually open the show.
Set the tone, especially when you look at Rhea's entrance when she had Motionless and White player out live, which was, I thought, a bit questionable because it sounded like the guy's mic like, I don't think the band were playing, and it kind of threw me off a bit. Like, the singer was occasionally singing, I thought it's a bit wobbly, but hey, a live band nonetheless makes her entrance feel special. The fact she sings it when she walks down the ring is just incredible in itself. Becky obviously gets her entrance published, like obviously plastering her new book, and her outfit, it was just phenomenal with the tail that was made up with pages from the book, and just what a way to kick off. And then the 8K camera as well when they're doing when Samantha's doing the announcement in the ring. I love the 8K entrances, man. I don't know why, but it looks weird, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, solid match. I'm glad that we got the explanation that Becky was ill, because it kind of explained, like, it was a really good match, but I felt it could have been better, and I have a reason as to why it wasn't as good as what I was expecting it to be, but it was still a really good match, a really good way to open WrestleMania, and it's genuinely set the bar for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I would agree. I did expect this match to be better than what it was, but I still think it was very, very good. This is probably my stance on it. But I do see that, like you said, there is a window for a rematch. Obviously, the next Premier Live event is going to be Backlash, which is going to be in Lyon, Francais. Bonjour. That's as good as it's going to get for now. For me, this is a perfect potential main event level match that you could have on this show, and I think it would be good to run it back one more time here at that PLA.
Yeah, I mean, I think it needs more of a build, because, like, with their whole story, Becky was just constantly distracted through this whole build with Nia Jax, Liv Morgan. Whether they run it back at Backlash again, whether Becky takes time off, who knows? Because I know obviously Liv Morgan is still eyeing up that title, but I would imagine that they will build to a rematch, because it kind of needs it at this point, just to almost not compensate, but like just to sort of make up for the fact that they could have had an even better match than what they did have.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And like you say, a bit more story, a bit more context. And shout out to Eric, by the way, did put a comment long ago that I've lost now, says Liv Morgan needs to finish the story. Maybe a time will come. But yeah, I think, like you said, they need to revisit this one first. There is something just that needs finishing off with this one. Yeah, I mean, like you said, a bit more story. Becky now can turn around and say, look, I've put the attention to the book. Like you said, I've finished off chapters I need to finish off. But now you've got my sole attention. I realized that I probably took you lightly, and it wasn't my 100% when I was there. So I'm going to earn it. I'm going to get back, and we're going to do this one more time. I think would be a great way to go. But for me, this was still a very strong, solid open. I would say this is definitely like a 3.5 star match to kick off WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair estimate. I'd say 3.5 as well.
So well, let's move on to the ladder match in the meantime. Obviously, with 6 teams involved, the Judgment Day walking with 2 sets of tag team titles leave with none. Obviously, we did expect that to be the case. And Awesome Truth winning the Raw tag team titles, and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller winning the SmackDown tag team championships. Now, for me, just to say very quickly about this ladder match, because I thought this was the ladder match of 2 halves. Loved the DX Open with Gargano and Ciampa. Loved
Dude,
Pretty
man,
Deadly's
Gargano, man, you could tell that meant something to him, man. That you could just see, like, dude, massive fans. But when Johnny goes for the fist bump and Gargano's like, "Nah, we're gonna hug this out at the top of this ramp, man." Just phenomenal, man. Felt that one, man. It was great.
Absolutely, yeah, it was awesome. Really was awesome to see. But I mean, like when you look at Pretty Deadly, I'll give a shout as well. Pretty Deadly were awesome with the advertisement of introduced. It's great to say they found a way onto the WrestleMania card, because I thought it was a bit bad that they didn't make it. But with regards to the ladder match, like I say, this is a ladder match of 2 halves for me, because I had a bit of a problem with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller winning the SmackDown tag team titles, because we saw Awesome Truth and DIY, or Regeneration X, how you want to call them, both going for tag team titles at the same time. And obviously Theory and Waller pushed both of them off, but this was like about a few minutes old, this match, and they run up and just grabbed the SmackDown tag team titles. And call me a bit, I don't know what the word is for it here, but I had a problem with it, because it just felt like it was very easy to climb up and get these championships. So normally ladder matches, you have to bust and grind and do everything you can to climb up and get a championship belt, where it just felt very simple for Theory and Waller at the start here.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, I liked the idea of the match, the fact that it was 2 separate titles to be won, and it was like, I'm sure we've seen, obviously, we've seen a triple threat before, where the European and Intercontinental title or whatever's been on the line, and 2 pinfalls to separate and all that stuff. The only thing I can probably appreciate with this, really, to take away from their win, was the fact that Waller goes through the ladder on the outside and isn't seen for the rest of the match. I can respect that, and I think that kind of makes up for how quickly they won for it, because it almost, like I said, it almost rules A-Town Down Under out of winning the Raw titles. That's, like I said, it's strange, but then again, it was kind of like it's a match we've never seen before, so it's no TLC 2, and you're like, I think that's what a lot of people may be trying to. I know I was, because I'm obviously TLC 2 is famous for being at WrestleMania, and I guess I was hyping it up much, but I know what you mean. It just felt really quick, really rushed. But like I said, with Waller being taken out and not seen for the rest of the match, I think I can allow it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Robbie's could just shout out, by the way, to Robbie Collins, who's joined us. I hope you're doing well, Robbie. Said like glad they got a set of belts. I think they actually will be quite good champions. I'm looking forward to seeing how they work on SmackDown.
Between us, we got 50-50, so we got these in the predictions. I mean, you said what, New Day and Awesome Truth, and I said Theory and Waller if they were still in the match, and I wanted DIY to win it, but obviously not. But so we got half of it right, so we'll take it.
We'll take it. I mean, technically, to get someone to get a win in the ladder match right, it's got to be a win, all right?
Yeah, we both got them, so yeah.
We'll let you make your own judgment. Yeah. But at the same time, obviously, when we got to the second half of the ladder match, like I said, there were some big spots kicking in. Obviously, people going through tables. JD McDonough tried to get involved to help the Judgment Day. He ended up going through a table as well. There was fun moon spots from New Catch Republic, which I think was earlier in the match. But I just felt that the match was good. But I didn't think I'd seen a lot of fresh, new, innovative spots. The only thing I felt was a bit innovative was the fact that the ladder almost collapsed. And you can see the referee was kind of like, "Don't climb that ladder," when Damian Priest and Miz were there. That felt dangerous and risky. But apart from that, I felt like I'd seen everything before. But still, I mean, obviously, to just go with the finish, obviously, R-Truth did take out Damian Priest at the very end of this match. And what I did like was with the last set of titles, I did feel like there was an opportunity that someone was going to win them because they hit a big move and it felt like, right, okay, they are going to get the titles. You know, when you have that last two and then you think, right, okay, it's a clear path there, then someone getting to the last second. I liked how they did that. But obviously, when it was Truth and Priest at the end, and Truth kind of feels like he's not a fan of heights. It felt like he took his time to get the Raw titles off there, but he got them off there. He's still got the big pop, the desired effect as well, and obviously Awesome Truth for the Raw Tag Team Champions. For how long? I don't think it's going to be very long, but they may even lose them tonight on Raw. I wouldn't be surprised if that was to be the case, but the fact is that it's still great. R-Truth got that WrestleMania moment. He has been so over since getting back from injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right person won at the end of the day. Like, it was the right call to make. The match, I think the biggest problem is you've got 12 guys in a ladder match, and it's kind of a bit of a poop show when you've got that many people in a ladder match, and it's kind of like everyone's trying to get their spot in. And Gargano's DDT over the top rope through the table to Pete Dunne was phenomenal. The bit where we got Johnny Gargano tuning the band, and Ciampa hits the fairy tale ending, and like they said, it's a pedigree. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it for what it was. It was just a simply crazy match that you expect when you have a ladder match, man. So I'm not gonna complain. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm happy with the winners. Like, obviously my bias would have been for my favorites, but do you know what I mean? The two right teams won in the end.
Yeah, I'll still give it a 3-star. I think that the match was fine. I just think that it had the reminiscence of the WrestleMania 2000 triple threat match where two titles were on the line with Benoit, Angle, and Jericho. And obviously, that's a very quick match. It's very quick to get the first four, to get to the second. And obviously, you kind of need to do that. It has to be a match of two halves. So I kind of get it. But I just felt like the first half, it was a bit like, oh, that was quick. But obviously, you have to get your spots in. But all in all, I think you said it to me on WhatsApp, and I think it's a fair reflection of this match. Not TLC 2, but enjoyable. So 3-star from me.
Yeah, I would say the same. I enjoyed it. It's not one I would categorically go back and say it's a must watch, but it is enjoyable. Like I said, for a pay-per-view, it's enjoyable, and that's, I think, more than what you can ask for.
Absolutely. Slightly clustered, but it's great to see so many people did get the spot on the card because they wouldn't have got it otherwise. So that's something for it. But there's a couple of questions that come in with this one, so we'll take those very quickly. Scott Retro Wrestling, good to see you, Scott. Hope you're doing well. You think they'll rename them to the WWE and World Tag Team Championships with new designs? I'm going to answer that quickly. Yes, I think so. But by the time we get the draft, I think this is also going to answer C Nation's point, actually, why the point of unifying them only to break them up again. I think because one show didn't really have tag team titles, but had tag teams. And I think they realized they kind of made a mistake like they did with Roman having 2 titles. So I think that's kind of what they've tried to do, obviously. Just to speak with Roman, it's the Universal title is going to be quietly retired now. It's going to be the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title again, same as we got with the women's titles. So I think it will happen with the tag team titles, and obviously then we'll have a set of tag team champions on each show. With the draft coming up, we hope for them with new designs, haven't got to do the merry-go-round of Raw and SmackDown tag team champions. So if they want to switch the champions round, they can have them as the WWE and World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of them. I don't mind the color straps as long as they don't go back to them black and bronze penny farthing looking things. We'll be all right, man. But yeah, I would much rather prefer WWE and World Tag Team Champions.
I think it's the way to go, and hopefully that's what they will do. And maybe it's the announcement tonight. We'll have to wait and see. But I think with everything going on, that is a sort of thing that could wait for a week or two, in my personal opinion. But just as a last thing to say, I would not be surprised if Awesome Truth lost them tag team titles tonight. But we will talk about who to later on in the video. That's what I'll just leave that there for now. A bit of a cliffhanger for you. Rey Mysterio and Andrade defeat Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio, which, let's be fair, I think it was an okay match, but I just think had a lot of interference. This match was just a cluster as well. LWO and Legado del Fantasma all at ringside. Dominic obviously signed along with Santos and Andrade getting involved as well. But I enjoyed the Whacking Wild spot. They've done it on NXT. They did it on SmackDown, so they made sure they got on WrestleMania as well. The fact that Whacking Wild, with a bit of an assistance, can go flying very high in the air into the aisleway very, very far. I liked that. We had Zelina and Elektra Lopez bouncing it out as well. But this match for me kind of got ruined when Santos and Dominic were on top. Dominic was going to get a steel chair. He was ordered to by Santos. And then we had 2 masked individuals get involved and basically cost Dominic the match and Santos the match. And that led then to Rey Mysterio picking up the victory. If I'm not mistaken, it was Rey that did it for his team. Kind of lost interest by this point, if I'm being brutally honest. And obviously, we see Rey and Andrade win. Fair enough, they won. That's fair enough. I think it would have been better with the heels winning on this year, but it's more the case of the fact that we're revealed to be 2 Philadelphia Eagle NFL football players. And for me, I know one of them is related to someone that goes out with Taylor Swift. Thumbs up. But at the same time, I didn't need this, and I don't see the connection of this match. I don't need to see 2 6'10" dudes with lucha masks on. That's not the idea of lucha. Yeah, exactly. It's not lucha. So I don't know. Just it totally didn't fit the narrative.
It's a heel tactic. Like, why would the baby faces have to have someone interfere for them to win? Like, it didn't make sense for me, and I think everyone was expecting Carlito to maybe do a heel turn on Rey and Andrade, which is why everyone was picking Dom. Like, I didn't. I picked Rey to win because, I like Rey Mysterio. I'm not just sucking up at this point. Yeah, just the ending just soured this one for me. It was a fun match. Like, it was great seeing Andrade back in there doing his stuff. It's great seeing Santos doing his stuff. Like I said, unless it's building to a bigger picture at a later date, I wasn't a fan of the finish.
No, I wasn't a fan of the finish either. And like you say, I mean, Dragon Lee was taken out on SmackDown for Andrade to take his spot. Obviously, that happened after we did our predictions show. And Carlito was with Dragon Lee. It's clear Carlito did it. So it's just a matter of when, not if, that gets revealed. We assumed it was going to be at WrestleMania, but the fact that they did make mention of it on commentary as well, maybe I was like, did they get cold feet to not do it on this night? But I mean, you don't get 2 NFL stars in at the last second. I'm pretty sure that was brought in before it happened. So it's what it is. I'm going to give this a star rating of like 2. It was there for me. It was actually my least favorite thing of the whole of WrestleMania.
I'm not as critical, unfortunately. I'm going to say 2.5. Like I said, from what I enjoyed, I did enjoy it. Like I said, it was just the ending that soured it for me. And trying to watch Zelina Vega high five someone who's 6'10" is just like, why is this a thing? But I say 2.5.
Fair enough. I will say I did love this spot as well that Scott makes mention of, the double crossbody spot with Andrade and Rey to the floor at the same time. That was actually pretty sick, actually. I would say that's definitely worth a check out on the highlight reel. Nation's got an idea, which I was saying about Judgment Day running Raw. I like this as well. He just had the thought with Finn Balor, JD McDonough, if they beat the Awesome Truth to win the Raw Tag Team titles, that's a possibility, by the way. And Dirty Dominic could get the IC title they would run Raw with Damian Priest being the world champion and Rhea having the women's world title. That's just something that they could go down. It's different to what my prediction is, but I do think that's something they could do. It'd be fun.
You'd need to change the lineup for me. I think it would be JD and Dom and Finn going for the IC title.
Interesting. I like it that way round. That CD said my reasoning for it just because of the fact you have the Irish connection with Balor and McDonough, and I look at Mysterio and McDonough as the job squad. But hey, I see where you're coming from. Because Balor being a bit bigger name probably would be more believable to beat Sami Zayn at this point. What's up with me? See, I see your point of view. I do see your point of view, but I do like CD. We'll see. I don't predict it to happen, but it still took my fascination. We could have a Judgment Day running Raw completely.
They're going to open Raw tonight as well. By the way, you can already tell.
Yeah, they would definitely be a big part of the show, I'm sure. One thing that probably a lot of people sound on this show was James defeating Jimmy Uso. I will give my opinion as giving the details of this match, so it's kind of a bit biased from me here, but obviously, yes, there was a lot of super kicks. Yes, it was slow paced. Well, I think it needed a bit of a faster pace. I just think this match lacked its intensity, just like the build it had. And I think that was the problem with it. I don't think it's as bad as some people say, but I think it was too many super kicks, and I think it was played safe. They played the idea of Jimmy saying sorry and Jay being a stupid babyface and suckering into it, being super kicked, and then obviously the splash attempt and that, and obviously the 1-2 and the kick out. But then obviously James to kind of just overcome Jimmy, like there was nothing about it, did his spots and then did his finish. It's just, for me, I kind of felt to myself, like when I looked at this match, it was like Jimmy did need this win more. This needed a higher intensity. This needed to feel more purposeful. And dare I say, I think this could have even done with a title. I don't know, but I just feel to myself here, they kind of killed Jimmy off with getting any chance of any momentum ever here with this one. And I think if they'd had Jimmy win this match through cheating, and Jay had won this with a stipulation match, say no DQ, something bonkers with some toys coming out, kendo sticks and all the rest of it, tables. They could have redone this at Backlash, and I think then Jay winning there, I think would have got a better desired effect. Instead, I think this is one and done, and it just feels a bit flat, if I'm honest.
Lackluster. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it's the problem with this match was that they waited too long to do it, because when the story was piping hot, like obviously when Jay turns on the bloodline, and they could have done it Rumble whenever, it's just taken too long to get to that point where they have the actual match. The match is kind of underwhelming. There's only the one real story beat where Jimmy is apologizing, and it's kind of just over and done with. Like, I wouldn't be against seeing them go again at a later date with some better build. But I think for me, the reason why I said Jay was going to win this was, apart from the fact that Jay is going to be that big solo star, Jimmy still obviously has storyline within the bloodline. So it's not like he's not going to be on TV, whereas Jay would need something for a reason for him to stay on TV every week.
Yeah, I can see the point of view of that, especially when you look things in hindsight later on. I just felt at the time when it was like, if we get Bloodline Rules on night 2, you see how Seth was. He was no real factor to helping. I just kind of felt to myself, if Jimmy had done that to Jay, it would have just made things look even more invincible. But still, we've covered that main event, and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with that main event. I wouldn't change a thing. It was awesome. But all in all, bit flat with this one. I'm going to give it like a... Also, probably a 2-star, maybe 2.25. I can't really go higher.
Yeah, 2's, like I said, 2 is my bog standard TV match quality, and I think that's what it was for worst case scenarios. It's like it almost felt like these guys don't have a variety moveset. Like, they seem to have super kicks, splash, Samoan drop, and they don't seem to have a lot else otherwise, really. So I don't know. I was expecting a variety of stuff to happen, and it kind of just felt very basic, very safe, very TV quality.
I would agree with that, especially when we see them have a 5-star main event last year in a main event of WrestleMania against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They've got more in the arsenal. It's a shame we didn't see it. Scott says that they're trying to fit a 25-minute match into 11 minutes. I think that could be a fair comment here. And Nightcrawler, with a couple of comments that I'm going to call up here as well, said this match looked like the Young Bucks PS, obviously with their super kicks. Skipping leg day in the gym, I think, is what Nightcrawler was trying to say here. And I don't like how Jimmy never explained why he turned on Jay at SummerSlam, which obviously... I think there isn't. I think that part of the problem with that is the fact that WWE changed the story. Like they put the idea that when you look at the video package before, and that Jade moved to Raw and then had the match with Roman at SummerSlam, which Jimmy cost him. That isn't the way things played out. So I just think a little bit that I think WWE just kind of not played to the story.
The fact that they didn't play into like the Hell in a Cell match more with Roman, do you know what I mean? They like, because obviously it was supposed to be the video package was great. If anything, the video package was probably better than the match, and the video package was still missing, I think, key story beats. So yeah, it's just a weird one.
Just a weird one, unfortunately. As Nubico was summing up with this one, this match is meh. Too basic. Have to agree. We'll move on then. In the meantime, we'll talk about the Damage Control trio of Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane losing to Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill. I think we've explained this one a little bit already in the detail. The fact is, the point of this match, one of the shortest ones on this night, but it was to make Jade Cargill look like a star. I think they did that in execution. Obviously, she got the pinfall as well. Bianca Belair, obviously, she keeps her undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Naomi as well finds a spot on the card there. And these three, they looked like stars with their entrance as well. There's really much more to say about it, really, unfortunately. It was a simple entertainment. It did what it needed to do, and we move on. And this is the reason why I think it's one of the shortest matches on the card, because it was there to serve a purpose, and they fulfilled that within a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would prefer to have seen a Jade Cargill singles match just because I want people, if you've never seen her in AEW, or you'd want the wider audience to see what she can do. But like we explained, it had a purpose. They had an amazing entrance. I think the only thing I was a bit bummed on is that we didn't get a Jade Cargill WrestleMania entrance. But hey, there's many, many years to go where Jade Cargill can have her own special WrestleMania entrance. But otherwise, yeah, it was. I said for me, I'm going to say a 3-star match. It's like Ronseal does exactly what it says on the tin.
I like that. Not sponsored by them, but if you want to get in touch, feel free. I'm here. I'm open to all emails. I kind of would agree. I think again, it's like a 2.5. 3-star match. Yeah, I think it's probably a fair way to go with it. I was okay with Jade being in the multi-person match here. Like I said, it gets everyone on the card, and like I said, it protects Jade as well. She's still kind of new to WWE's game of how things run. So, being next to Bianca Belair, who's top of the game right now, Naomi, who's a veteran as well. I think it's just you're in safe hands with that one, and with the opponents as well. Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane all have been around the block and have all done it previously as well. And I think the miss spot as well from Asuka into Kairi was fun as well. So there was some good things about this match, but not enough detail, I suppose, to go into more depth, I guess. C Nation brings a comment here from before. Says Jimmy Uso's reason was that he didn't want Uso to become the next tribal chief, but then Jimmy Uso went on to join Roman Reigns. That's pretty much. I think I remember that now that C Nation says that he did say that previously. Scott Retro Wrestling says Jay's next match will be a tag match and then it will be singles. Could you say, and Night Chorus as well, 2 green for 1-on-1 right now. Could you see potentially, obviously, with the women's tag team titles being involved in this match here, obviously we're talking about Asuka and Kairi Sane, could you see perhaps a combination of either Bianca Naomi, Bianca Jade Cargill, or Naomi Jade Cargill going for those tag team titles?
I wouldn't be against it. I think it'd actually probably be a safer way to have Jade transition to the main roster. In fact, if anything, I'd put it with Naomi just because Bianca Bianca's already that main event star that doesn't really need to go and do tag team wrestling. So I think Naomi would benefit more from being in a tag team with Jade. So I would put them two together.
I think I would like that as well. I mean, I'm fine with either really with Jade at this point, but I have a funny feeling it could be Belair and Naomi. That could be the team because I think they count with a tag team name, which escapes my brain. Comments help me, but it's something like Glow Est or something like that. They've been saying on the last couple of shows running into WrestleMania, and I think that could be the storyline direction going after this. I wouldn't be surprised to see Belair and Naomi against Asuka and Zayn at Backlash, potentially even before, depending on what WWE wants to do. But Nubico, this match is good. However, Asuka's now 0-6 at WrestleMania. Hopefully, this will turn to a storyline at some point. It'll be a redemption story arc and not a retirement storyline. I don't think it'll be a retirement storyline, but if you look at previous times, obviously, R-Truth had not won at WrestleMania, did on this show. Big Show was a big storyline for him when he took on Cody Rhodes and when he won, I believe, WrestleMania 28. So I think they'll probably turn this into a storyline at some point. And hopefully, for her, she does it in a singles capacity as well. Like I say, a bit of redemption for Asuka.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Asuka is still my pandemic hero because she was the greatest thing during the pandemic when we had the Thunderdome and like we had that Money in the Bank at the corporate towers. Like she was just honestly on a phenomenal run at that point. I mean, yeah, I'm sure her time will come, whether it be next year, year after. She will definitely get that big win at WrestleMania.
I would think so as well. The gear looked X-Men themed. I'm not an X-Men person, so NXT, did you see that reference?
And they talk with the damage control one. I just saw a lot of tinfoil, if I'm honest, when it comes to like Naomi and Jay. Like it was just all shiny metal kind of colors, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I missed that one. Everyone was wearing a lot of green this year. Do you know what I mean? Philadelphia colors, like that was the main thing I took from this year. I didn't really get a lot of any other references aside from maybe DIY wearing DX colors, like which was fantastic, by the way.
I just feel like everyone that uses green for WrestleMania this year is completely lazy, especially if it's a background on a YouTube video.
But to be fair though, dude, that I'm gonna name it British Racing Green because essentially that's what that color is. It looked phenomenal on everyone's gear that had it. It just looked amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. It was for the baby faces. So we see Jade was Storm and Bianca was Cyclops. So that's wasn't sure about Naomi. I guess they all had their theme here. And yes, CD KO did have ECW gear and it was freaking awesome.
Wait, no. See, the thing I got was that Bianca Belair looked like who's the guy from Star Trek with the visor?
Really going out of my zone now.
That was what I got from it. I didn't think it was something right. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm so glad because I was like, why has she randomly picked a Star Trek reference for Mania gear? That makes so much more sense.
I have nothing to add. I'm very sorry for everyone.
Geordie LaForge. That's it. That's his name from Star. I thought she was coming out as Geordie LaForge, and I was like, that's not right. That's not Mania attire gear. What a dummy.
Well, sadly, I can't transition to Mania gear for the next match, unfortunately. But we had Sami Zayn defeat Gunther in the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I have to say very quickly, the backstage stuff before Sami came to the ring. Obviously, first I was seeing his wife and child. Then was Chad Gable, who then said, you're ready. All the training's in. He said, when you win, I think he said, you owe me a favor. We'll come back to that very shortly because we have got a theory on that favor. We've collaborated on that. You've got a idea for tonight, Steve, which I think is awesome. I have one that's slightly probably, I think we've mentioned the predictions and we're going to go longer term with it. We've collaborated on this one. It's going to be fun. But obviously, Sami then saw KO on the way to ringside as well. And KO had the energy, the passion as well. You and I said the same thing as soon as we saw this when we were talking. We went, feel Sami might win this.
Sami to win.
Yeah, I want Sami to win. Kind of, he might be doing this. He kind of had that feel about it. And if it wasn't, it was going to be very cruel. It was very special indeed. And Gunther's entrance as well. Just the way his coat came off and Kaiser it was just smooth. It was so smooth. It was awesome. Was awesome.
Yeah, as soon as you see Sami's kid, and I'm like, oh my god, I kind of want Sami Zayn to win there. Just a quick thought of how my brain was. My idea was that Sami loses this year, and then next year he was going to beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship after he wins Money in the Bank, because it would have been Sami Mania next year. It would have been that point where he'd come up against the same foe from the previous year who he couldn't beat. Could he do it? And that's how I'd want it. But then they did that with his wife and his kid, and Kevin's there, and I'm like, oh man, I want Sami to win now. Just phenomenal, man. To pull at the heartstrings like that, just absolutely great. I love this transitional stuff where they're going from backstage to the curtain. It's just phenomenal stuff, man.
It really is. I like the way they played that as well, because it breaks away as well for everything you see throughout the night. So it just gives you something just to pull your attention, grab you in somewhere else as well. It's just those little storyline beats I always really, really like. And as Nightcrawler says here, I mean, this is pretty much the story of the match here. Gunther's arrogance is his downfall of this match because he dominates Sami throughout. We saw in the chops, the clotheslines, the power bombs. You think there's no way Sami's going to get up, but it's completely done. And to the point that he gets distracted and he sees Sami's wife at ringside, and it's pretty much becomes a verbal altercation between between those two, and she's pretty much telling him like, Sammy's come back, you're going to come back, if that's your worst, you're done for, kind of thing. And you see Gunther just laughing at the prospect, doing more power bombs, going for splashes and stuff on the top rope, but eventually he just goes one too far. And he gets caught out, really, isn't it? He's kind of like on the turnbuckle. It's caught with like a Haluva kick kind of move, followed by this brainbuster that goes on the top of the turnbuckle. That was a sick looking spot.
Just to go back to Sami at this point, right?
Yeah.
You've seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, right? Do you remember when he gets shot with the blow darts and his arms go numb and he's just like throwing his shoulders round and his arms go? That's exactly the thought I got when Sami was on the canvas, when he was trying to like Hulk out and essentially come back. I was like, Ace Ventura impression there. But yeah, dude, that brain buster, insane. Like, I forgot Sami Zayn does that, and the fact that he had to pull that out of his arsenal to beat Gunther, and it looked vicious as anything, man. It was incredible move.
It was just different. And I've always said, I don't know if I'm going to be a fan when Gunther loses this championship, because I kind of felt like it needed to be the right person. I always felt triple threat match to just protect, because Gunther's going to the next level once he's lost his title. Now he's not going down the card. He's only going one way, and that's up towards the top. And I was always like unsure how I was going to feel about it. But when I saw that move connect, I was like, that's different to what I've seen anyone hit ever. It felt believable that would knock the stuffing out of him, that he wouldn't know what's going on. Then he gets a Haluva kick to the back of the head, and then Sami goes and does one to the front of the face as well. You're just like, do you know what? This is a believable 3 count. I can. It's almost it works, and Sami pinned him, and it works. He got the 3 count. The place went ballistic, and just that story beat from the fact that Sami wouldn't give up, the fact then that Gunther got that cocky, to the fact then that Sami found his way back into the match. Yes, I agree. Kind of was a lot of fits going on from Sami in the ring, which probably had its distracting moments. But apart from that, take that little nugget out of there. For me, this was almost a perfectly told story from start to finish. This match, I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Yeah, this is like your ultimate underdog story. Like, this is Kofi Mania without the world title. Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, the key point is Michael Cole when Sami hits that brainbuster. Like, his selling, like his audio selling to show that was a devastating move, just really added to it for me. And like you said, he hits them 2 Haluva kicks, and he gets the pinfall. And dude, man, just great, man. Honestly, a great match. Like, Gunther can do no wrong in my eyes, and like Sami winning, like you said, is the right. It's a believable outcome, and you can't ask for more than that. For the fact that every time we talked about Gunther, it was always, it's got to be a multi-man where he doesn't have to take a pinfall, or it has to be a ladder match or something like that. I am more than happy with how this match played out.
Absolutely. The only thing I find a bit strange is the record now for the Intercontinental title is 666 days. They couldn't have done this on night 2, could they? Just to give it the 1 extra day. But hey, it's what it is. That is the record now. Going forward, that's to beat. But me and you feel that this title reign might not last very long. Sami might have to, have a favor called in from Chad Gable tonight on Raw.
Yeah, I think that you summed it up best for me, but I was like, Chad Gable I'm pretty sure going to cash in that favor tonight, and I think Chad Gable's going to become your new IC champion tonight. I think it's going to be a case of Chad Gable couldn't beat Gunther, but Chad Gable can beat Sami Zayn, and I think we're going to get a heel Chad Gable.
As I said the other day, I think the heel side is coming. I originally thought the Gunther was retaining. It was me that trained you to get this moment, and you still let it down. But you look back to that moment on Raw when he lost and he was downhearted, and we had the Raw exclusive and stuff like that. You could see this man was broken, was lost, and it's kind of like he's regrouped. And he felt heelish when he first spoke to him. You can't do it. You're not going to do it. But then he trained him so that he could do it. And like you say, he's in Sami's head. He knows how Sami ticks. He's got to work with Sami for the last couple of weeks. He knows deep down he can't beat Gunther. But like you said, he knows he can beat Sami. But the thing is, though, it's the case of it's not just going to be the fact that he can beat Sami. Like you say, we're going to get a heel Gable. And I think the fact is he's going to have maybe cheat or do something to get it, because Sami's exhausted himself as well to win this title. So Sami's probably not going to be 100% either. And I mentioned about the Raw Tag Team titles, and I love that C Nation said about the Judgment Day and perhaps different members of holding it. They can make a lot of sense to do that. But I've said before, I think that Chad Gable is going to break away from the Alpha Academy, or it's going to be just the academy we've got is turned to a joke. This isn't Alpha Academy. This now will be the Alpha Academy, and they'll take out the old members and bring in the new. And the new for me to work with Chad Gable is the Creed brothers, because they're sitting around doing nothing in catering. They are a perfect definition of the team. You take Diamond Mine, for example, what Diamond Mine was meant to be, what Alpha Academy was meant to be. You put Chad Gable and the Creed brothers together, you got a perfect mix. Ivy now as well in there. The fact that she could just turn on Maxine Dupree as well, it's very easily done. And you can have this almost like team angle seriousness of like, we've got the world's greatest tag team, because Brutus and Julius have got all the potential in the world to go and be one of the top tag teams of all time in future. And Chad Gable, in the meantime, could be like that running Intercontinental champion that's having banger matchup, pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. I think will be great. And it's just the irony as well, that we've had like the longest reigning champion with Gunther, the 666 days, the fact that Sami can hold it for 2 before we get a next title change. And it's just the idea as well that Chad Gable didn't get on the WrestleMania card, but he gets a WrestleMania moment because it's the Raw after Mania. It's still seen as part of that weekend. It's almost like, here is your thank you for not doing it here. So it's just, for me, it ticks all the boxes. Whether all of this happens tonight or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I think this is how it's going to plan over the next couple of weeks, because there's more serious Chad Gable we are getting moving forward. It's going to be cool. And I think, like I say, when I say Kurt Angle, I'm not saying world titles, but just the definition of where the light switch turned from goofy Kurt Angle in the early 2000s to being the machine Kurt Angle. That's the Chad Gable I think we're going to get moving forward.
The other thing as well is Chad Gable was wearing a suit as well. He weren't wearing his Alpha Academy. And big massive heel turn is the big massive heel turn like prompt is they start wearing 3-piece suits. That's how you can tell Chad Gable's going to become a heel. But yeah, dude, I'm all for it. And it, like I said, I had on the predictions, I had a justice for Chad Gable. If this is what we get, and the thing as well, Sami coming off this win, he's going to have pride, and so it's going to be a case of Chad's just going to say to him, look, dude, give me a shot at the IC title. And Sami's going to be, yeah, of course, I'm a fighting champion. And it's just going to lead to it, man. And you can just tell that we're going to get a heel Chad Gable. It just feels that way.
That's all right. It feels poetic, and it feels like it's going to be a lot of fun with the storytelling that could go. And not to say Gunther could just move up the card now, depending on what they want to do. Have theories. Absolutely. We've got draft videos that will be coming out very soon, so you'll get to see the ideas of Gunther moving forward. But I think a world title scene is in his destiny in the very near future. CD says, I like the idea of Gable turning heel. He won't be goofy anymore. Absolutely, and I think that's part of it. Like saying suits as well. Sami Zayn is the go-to of ending long title reigns. He ended Neville's NXT Championship, also the Usos as well. So he's certainly got experience of doing this as well with now Gunther. Also, didn't Gable say you owe me one? He did. He said that to owe me a favor. So that's clearly something that we'll see moving forward, hopefully tonight as soon as that. Scott Richard Wrestler says Sami pretty much collapsed into the pin, which obviously will show the vulnerability of Sami if he does accept that match tonight. So let's see if it does happen. And the first over kick to the back of the head, that was that felt like the end of the match as well there. It just awesome stuff indeed all around. And Scott here, just with the last comment we put on this here, first tier of the weekend, literally, it did feel like a big special WrestleMania moment. And another one that was a really good match here as well, which you were just mentioning, that will culminate night one off then Roman Reigns and The Rock defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth Freakin Rollins, the biggest tag match of all time here between these two. To sort of sum this up in a short variation way, The Rock pretty much told the referee to not disqualify him and just to basically ignore the rules. We kind of got bloodline rules in this match. This became whatever goes really from the get-go. The fact that The Rock could just smack Cody in between the legs into the gonads, and the fact that the ref had to turn to Seth and say, I'm sorry. I can't do anything about it. Or said it's Cody. Just basically apologize to the corner, but I can't DQ him. This is, I'm going to get fired if I do anything. They fought through the crowds and everything like that, which was quite cool as well. And there was lots of near falls. But for me, this really got exciting from the moment where Roman went for a spear. And obviously, I can't remember which one pushed who out of the way of Cody or Seth, but one pushed the other out of the way. And we saw the spear of Roman to The Rock. What were your thoughts when we saw The Rock get speared? Was there a moment you kind of thought to yourself here, hang on, maybe the babyface is going to win? Yeah, we could get the implosion here right now.
Dude, this match was a hot mess. Like at one point, I remember texting one of my mates who was watching it as well at the same time. And I said to him, I honestly at this point don't know who's supposed to win this match because everyone is kicking out of everything. And it's just an absolute mental. Like everything's just going crazy. The Rock is just doing some of his best character work ever, like with the referee, kind of almost steals the show a little bit too much, but I can understand it. It's his only match he's in this weekend, so I'll take it. It's why he got the special entrance on night one, because the other two are going to be like Roman, like literally Seth, Roman, and Cody are all having matches the next night, so they get their special entrances the next night. But yeah, just an absolute, like I said, when he hits that spear, just like I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is the point it implodes. And I was really hoping that we don't get the implode at Mania, because it would really, like, I just didn't want it to happen. I wanted Cody to win this off of his own back. So I'm glad we didn't get it. But yeah, that spear was literally, like, it just puts that seed in your mind where you sit there and go, oh my God, are they actually going to do the implode of the bloodline on WrestleMania?
And the fact that they could even do it on night one as well. So they want to speculate the idea of, Rock will turn on Roman on night two with this spot. And that's when, we'll get Cody win the title and it sets up Rock and Roman for next year. They didn't do none of that in the end, which is, I think, better. They just left the tease here and that was enough. But one of the story beats I really liked in this match, and I mentioned this earlier on about Solo almost dictating to Roman how he needs to do things here. It was like The Rock did this as well, because obviously this match went through to where, Roman hit the spear on Cody. We saw, obviously, Seth got put through the barricade as well. And it looked like Roman had the match won over Cody at this spot. But this was when The Rock was like, I'm going to take this pinfall. And he put his hand out. It was almost like, you tag me in, like I'm finishing this off. Most of the crowd were popping hard as well for the idea of Cody versus The Rock in this match, because that was like the match had been highly built as well for this. We will need to see that as a singles match at some point, but maybe we'll have to wait just for a little while in the meantime. But the fact is as well, like, obviously Rock then hits the rock bottom and hits the people's elbow and then gets the 1, 2, 3. Very, very good main event. Obviously, it could go in much more detail than what I probably have here, but it's just to give our initial reactions to this match here. But I thought this was it was a 44-minute match. It was the second longest match in WrestleMania history, basically outside of the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. And a lot of people said it was a bit long, but for me, I had a great time with this one. I didn't have any complaints. I thought this was, along with this and Sami, I think this was the two best matches of the night.
Yeah, I think with the fact we just had that great Sami match, it kind of almost needed to be a little bit too long just to kind of separate itself from how good the Sami Gunther match was.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised with that. Just quickly, CD just put a point here, and I think it's worth raising. I think we'll get Rock versus Cody for the title at SummerSlam since The Rock pinned Cody Rhodes. Do you think that's a possibility? Because obviously Saudi would be another one as well, but Rock's going to be filming now for the next 3 months, so he's not going to be around.
Yeah, I mean, I said it in the predictions. I said I'm gutted that we didn't get Seth versus Rock on Raw the other night. So I'd be really up for seeing. I want to see The Rock versus both of those guys individually in matches, and SummerSlam kind of just fits the bill, really. So I'd be all up for it.
I'd be down for it. I think this would be we're talking about massive main events. This would be a massive main event if it would go down. So we have to wait and see with it. But what would be your overall rating for this match?
I'm going to say like a 4. Like I said, it was really an overbooked mess. But the fact that it left me just debating who was actually going to win the match, and then, like I said, it plants the seed of the bloodline split. I think, yeah, I'm going to say a 4.
I'll go with 4.5. I really enjoyed this one, and we forgot to get a rating as well for Sami and Gunther.
I would go 4.5 for Sami and Gunther. My only nitpick with it is that I would want to see Gunther do more wrestling, and I think that was the one letdown. He's had killer matches before where he's done lots of wrestling. Just for me, he didn't do as much wrestling, and obviously more taunting this match. That was my only nitpick.
I'll go 4.5 as well for this one. I did enjoy it. So WrestleMania Saturday overall score out of 10.
Mixture, because I don't know, like I said, I had a funny feeling on Monday night. Like the crowd seemed really weird during that main event. I forgot to mention as well the fact that it seemed to be Cody was getting a load of boos, and I felt like the whole night, whether it might have been something to do with the weather. I'm not a fan of stadium shows because the audience, the sound of the audience isn't always great, but they're not too completely changing my mind on it. But as an all, I'm going to say a 7. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff I enjoyed, some really good stuff, but then just some stuff I was like, nah, I could have probably done without, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I'm going to go for a 7.5. I think it's like a bookings kind of show. You know, the start and the finish were some of the hot spots. You know, obviously the opener was great. The last 2 matches was great. In the middle, kind of a lot of stuff that was like okay to not amazing, but all in all, I do think that the show was fine. I would say for Saturday, it kind of felt like WrestleMania 2000 or WrestleMania 15, which is the last one in WrestleMania in Philadelphia. But it felt a bit WrestleMania 2000 for me, where it's like there's really hot stuff that they're doing in a minute, but WrestleMania was like they're not their hottest show of that year. But then, like you say, we come to WrestleMania Sunday, and Jesus, it felt like watching WrestleMania 7. I'm not going to lie, this is me where I'm getting a bit overhead of myself. It is one of it feels like almost a complete perfect show. So we've already discussed Cody and Roman at the start of this video. So when it's coming in now, you need to rewind to get that reaction, that feeling there. But we will be talking about instantly straight off the gate is Seth Freakin Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Of course, Seth was beaten down, hurt back, hurt knee from the night previous. Obviously, he came out with his rosebuds, obviously in his entrance, which I thought was quite fun. The fact as well, Drew had his awesome entrance as well with the Roddy Piper with the bagpipes vibe going on, and then coming down with all the swords and stuff like that. I thought was a cool entrance as well. This we talked about this off air beforehand, and I said I felt this reminded me of a WrestleMania 19 match of all the finishers just being hit finisher after finisher, kick out after kick out. I did say that, and I do still stand by it. Is that I feel that there was probably too many finishers with kickouts, but you made the point, which obviously I'm talking for you now. You can make it yourself, really, but you did say to me is that it became believable every time a pinfall happened that a finish could happen. Do you stand by that now, or do you think that perhaps there was one too many claymores?
No, I mean, for me, this was a very story-driven, like especially what happens obviously afterwards. It was a very story-driven match, and the fact that we get more finishers than actual wrestling, I think it makes it makes it kind of believable. Like you expect these guys to do a 10-minute match, hit their finisher, then win the match. And if you guys are just essentially hitting finisher after finisher after finisher without them so much the rest in the middle, I can kind of take it as like, do you know what I mean? It's more believable in the way that they've not wrestled a 10-minute match. And like I said, the Claymore off the start just instantly set the tone. Like the fact that Seth turns around and whack, Drew just hits him with that Claymore. And like I said, I'm not going to critique it, man, because maybe like it's almost like sitting there saying it's almost like trying to compare the Jimmy J match, because Jimmy J was just super kick after super kick, and this is Claymore after stomp after finish after Claymore, and it's kind of the same thing. But I think the problem is super kicks are so common in every wrestling match, whereas finishing moves, they're only normally done once or twice. And the fact that Seth is trying to do his hardest to retain that title, Drew is trying his hardest to actually get his WrestleMania moment. Like I said, I think the story for me was more important than the actual match itself.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, obviously, the story beat there throughout the entire match, obviously, was the fact that Seth was beaten down. Drew was looking to get his moment. Those two were not getting on. Who was more distracted? You know, Seth had literally put his body over for other things other than himself in this match. CM Punk was on commentary as well, so there was a little bit of friction between Drew and CM Punk throughout the match as well. CM Punk wasn't complimentary about Seth's entrance either. I did say as well, I felt Punk felt a bit salty. Didn't feel his happiest when he was on commentary, but I do feel he was happy towards the end of the show. So yeah, we'll keep the Bucks references to another day, I think. But all in all, I did enjoy this match. I thought that it was a fun match, like you say. I bought into a lot of the near falls, so I'm not going to complain too much. And obviously, it came to the finish. I mean, Seth. I will, as a nitpick, say that I don't think Seth sells enough for someone who's meant to have such a bad leg. He did sell the stuff a bit, but I think he was getting up too quickly for me with some of these moves. You know, been hit with 6 claymores and he still was getting up for quite quickly. I would have preferred to have seen him sell it more. But all in all, if you've only got 10 minutes, You got to get to A to B to C to D. I kind of get it.
Yeah, but then I think the whole point is that the world title was meant to be a workhorse's world championship, and the fact that he could keep getting up after each finisher kind of makes plausible sense, which is why I'm not going to be as nitpicky as yourself, but I can see where you're coming from. But like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was an even better way to start night 2. Like, no disrespect to Becky and Rhea, but it was a more explosive match compared to night 1, and I think that's why that alone set the bar for night 2, and it never went down from that point.
Do you know, I would agree with that though, because like you say, it was a hot start, and like the first 40 minutes of the show flies by. Like before you know it, you're like, whoa, we've already done 40 minutes of the show here. It's unbelievable because, you know, to go to that finish of the match, you know, Drew eventually hits the Claymore that gets the job done. After however many he's hit, he finally hits one and gets the job done. And you do think yourself like, wow, this was an explosive match. You felt it could go either way at points, and it was pretty decent. You know what I mean? And the fact that Drew had his moment in front of fans, you know, we could see he was very emotional. Obviously, had the title handed to him, and they said like he's finally done it. He's a WrestleMania, and the first time as a world champion where he's done it in front of people. And I could be wrong with this, but I felt I saw Seth say, "You effing deserve it," as he walked away from ringside.
He did.
You know, and from that moment onward, yeah, absolutely did break character from it. And to be honest, you can't argue that with Drew. It felt like a real moment. And obviously, it had to be celebrated. But then it came to the point where, as Nightcrawler here says, it leads to Drew's own downfall. We have to think about, well, what's the story moving forward? Well, the big hot angle from this is not going to be Drew versus Seth anymore. We've had it numerous times. It's going to be Drew versus CM Punk. They've built it so much. I mean, Mike said a long time ago in the comments he doesn't see Drew leaving. Totally, there's no way that the guy's going. He's going to be the poster boy for Clash of the Castle in June, so he's not going anywhere. And they're building up Drew versus CM Punk. They've done it perfectly here at WrestleMania because he got in CM Punk's face, said he would end his career. I couldn't hear everything perfectly, if I'm being honest, but
no one could.
No one could.
He was sitting too far away from him.
I put the subtitles on. They took about 4 sentences, and they were the 4 that I could hear. So, I mean, they didn't have it all either, unfortunately. So, but I mean, obviously, Drew got too much out of himself. CM Punk then got attacked. Drew, after a while, took the cast off. He's definitely well ahead of schedule. Attacked Drew with that cast, and then all of a sudden, we hear the Judgment Day music. You see CM Punk's face go, whoa, and his face lights up almost. And I'm like, yes, I didn't think about this. This is brilliant. Damian Priest comes out, cashes in. Chokes down, was it South of Heaven it's called, and obviously gets the 1, 2, 3 in Judgment Day. Obviously Damian Priest is the second time ever Money in the Bank cashing at a WrestleMania, and Damian Priest is the World Heavyweight Champion, which, let's be fair, that's a very Triple H move. I don't know if I would have believed under a different regime or era that I would have believed Priest would have successfully cashed in. This is taking your stock, and we always said with Priest when we talked about this a long time ago, like Priest is perfect to cash in and be a champion on those months where you can see if it works out in an October or around Royal Rumble just after, and if he doesn't work out, he loses just before May. He's won it at WrestleMania. He's coming out of the hottest period. It's like, this is new stars solidified, and we're going to push of it going forward and see where it goes for the next few months straight after Mania. That's a big play they've gone with that there. And to be fair, I'm excited about the proposition, because watching Damian Priest recently, I have got to say, I felt like he's ready.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even from if you go back to the point when he got called up, his rise has been, it's been sketchy. Like, he had a great start, then they started doing that weird split personality stuff. We don't talk about that anymore because that was terrible booking.
Mm-hmm.
And then ever since he joined the Judgment Day, and the fact that the Judgment Day have turned around from being let's be honest, a joke faction, because no one I liked them. I like the aesthetic of them because I think they're cool. They look, do you know what I mean? They'll wear spikes and leather, and like reminds me of like LOD Road Warriors back in the day, and like the music is awesome, and like their presentation was great. And in the last 2 years, they have risen to a point where they, with a generation, this is the best part that summed it up. So I'm sure I got this from someone else. I can't remember who, so I apologize for not giving the credit. But in an era where we have the Bloodline and the Judgment Day win the Slammy for best faction, and you've got Damian Priest leading that faction, and everything he's done has just been phenomenal. Going back to that Puerto Rico match with Bad Bunny, honestly, what a fantastic match that was. Like, the fact that they gave him that spot and he delivered, and we've gone on from there, and he's cashed in. And I watched the press conference as well, and even Triple H says it, like, do you know what I mean? The guy, like, this guy was like, I think it was one of them said it was either him or Priest said the fact this guy was so close to walking away from the business, or in fact, he thought, I think Priest said he thought he was going to be fired at one point, and now he is on top of the world as a world champion with WWE. Dude, what a great rise, man! You can't ask for more than that. And then just to go back on Drew quickly, the whole story with him being sidetracked and just distracted by Punk, and that's the reason that's cost him the title. Just simply great storytelling. And then the fact he tweeted out while, like, at the end of his match, bored at work, lol. Just great storytelling, man.
The thing is, as well, it just plays into Drew's character perfectly because he got that WrestleMania moment, and now he's going to say, "I've been screwed again. I finally got what I wanted. It's been taken away from me again. I've been screwed." So it builds up Backlash perfectly because if Seth still fits and good to go, then you do Seth, Drew, and Damian in a triple threat match. Maybe by the time we get to Clash at the Castle, that's when Drew wins the championship and holds it until CM Punk comes back.
So.
I think that could probably be the likely direction, but I still think it's awesome to see, and I think it's going to be a fun storytelling, see where it's going to go going forward. And shout out to Zayn, by the way. Zayn, thank you very much for putting this comment in here as well. If you haven't given this a thumb up already, please do so. Really do appreciate that comment there, Zayn. Really means a lot. And CD, appreciate that you've already liked the video as well. If anyone else can, we really do appreciate it. CD asked a question slightly different off the topic we're talking in a minute, but I'll do it anyway. Do you see Cody Rhodes going to Raw or SmackDown? I personally think he'll be on SmackDown.
I think he's going to be on both shows for the foreseeable future until they genuinely go with the draft split.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I think when the draft happens, I go SmackDown. So that would be where I think it will be, because obviously that's where that champion is. But like you say, perhaps in the meantime, he could do both shows.
The only reason I would say Raw is because Raw's going to Netflix in January and next year. And I think that's going to be the bigger draw to get people to Netflix.
Be interesting indeed. I've got some
if he's champ still.
If he's champ still, that's very true as well there. Zane says, do you think Seth and Becky will leave WWE? Their contracts are up? No, I think they'll be sticking around.
Yeah, some 100%. Seth's still got so much to do in this company.
He really does, and so does Becky, to be fair, as well. Sid, when the Shield music hit, did we think Deanna was coming out? We did indeed, absolutely. We did talk about that at the very beginning of the stream, Sid, so I recommend stick with us now, but you can hear all that at the end, because we'll get you to the point where we get to the end of the Bailey match, and you go, well, I want to hear about that anyway. Then you can fast forward to the beginning of the stream, so it'll be perfect for you if you keep with us. But in the meantime, we will go on to the next match, which, if I'm not mistaken, was the Philadelphia Street Fight, which was Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against the Final Testament. And obviously, we got told Snoop Dogg was going to be in commentary. That was definitely fun.
Fantastic.
That was
fantastic.
Awesome. I'm going to have more of that going forward if they want to do it. I'm not going to be against it. And also, Bubba Ray Dudley was a special guest referee. And I'm not going to lie, the second they called this, I was like, well, this is predictable. I know I don't even need to think about how this match is going to play out. And it played out exactly how I thought, minus the table breaking before it was meant to.
But I enjoyed every minute of it, though.
Exactly. It didn't overstay its welcome, and it was just fun. I know that the Heels dominated at the start, but then it was to the point that they couldn't get the job done. Karrion Kross basically tries to push Bully Ray around, or Bubba Ray, I should be saying, and we get the Dudley glasses on. And that's when, obviously, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits take over. Montez Ford with an insane dive over the corner, almost goes into the crowd, almost overshoots it, to be fair, but takes out the AOP. We see, of course, Bubba Ray doing the push to Bobby Lashley, to everyone with the 1, 2, 3, get the tables. Love that spot each and every time it's done. Yes, the table breaks before it's meant to. B-Fab and Scarlett get involved throughout this match as well. Okay, both of them not the most polished wrestlers in the world, but they're fantastic troopers going with that table spot. B-Fab did look like she was a bit hurt from it, but fair play to them both for doing that spot. It was pretty cool. It was a good visual as well. And obviously, when we did get the finish, obviously Montez Ford doing that insane frog splash off the top rope to carry across through the table, and Bobby Lashley getting up the pinfall victory. All in all, look, this was just a fun time. This is what I was expecting. I had fun.
Indie wrestling fun. That's what I put this one down to. Like, if you go to an indie match, this is the kind of fun I expect to see. The match I was least looking forward to most was this match, because I wasn't really interested in the story, but just an absolute quality little fun match, man, to go on WrestleMania. Like, you have that killer opening match, and then you have just something fun, just for something for the crowd to get along with, especially when you got Bubba Ray in there. Just great, man. I can't argue with it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Intelligent booking all round with everything in this one, and for me, it gives it a higher rating as well. I'm going with a 3-star for this one.
I'm gonna go with probably a 3.5. I probably enjoyed it a bit more just because like I'm a goof when it comes to fun stuff. Like if you can get a pop at me and make me laugh, then I'm gonna rate it higher already.
Absolutely, no, fair play to that indeed. We then move on in the meantime then to LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Again, a really good match. I enjoyed this match a lot. I mean, AJ just doesn't age, does he? In ring, he's awesome with everything he does.
Dude.
Go on.
He's like Jericho. Do you know where Jericho just like he comes out, he's slightly overweight, and then all of a sudden he just turns up and he's ripped and he's got a 6-pack and he's jacked and he just looks like he's fresh, just come out of the gym like 10 minutes ago, like he's pumped up, man. Dude, the guy is genuinely phenomenal.
He is. What do you reckon of the new entrance music?
I'm yet to hear it fully. Like I couldn't really appreciate it because of the crowd and the pyro and stuff. So I'm sure when they release it on Spotify, I'll give it a proper listen to. I know a lot of people are critiquing his old one. I didn't mind it, but like I said, dude, he needed a repackage, and I'm looking forward to what he's going to do going forward. Because the longer he's in the business, if you're going to repackage him, that means he's going to be in the WWE for a while, and that means we're still going to get more of AJ Styles going forward.
Absolutely, I agree with that as well. And obviously, he still does that sort of springboard 450 splash so perfectly as well. I know I believe it got countered actually in this match, but it's just the way he gets over and does it. It's just like you do that at your age. It's amazing. But LA Knight eventually picking up the victory. Obviously, decountered the Styles Clash, which was a really cool transition of moves, the chain wrestling they were doing to get to that. And eventually, the LA Knight did hit the Blood Force Trauma to pick up the win. For me, was the right result. Look, LA Knight is still the fresh face, not necessarily much younger than AJ Styles, but he's the fresh face on the block, and they've got the potential to do more with him, and I still think he could potentially be your next United States champion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of like I felt it was like for me, he's the face of Slim Jim for WWE, and I kind of obviously it was the Slim Jim sponsored match, and to me, I almost got the impression it was kind of like you want the sponsored guy to win. I said in predictions, I think AJ's got a new look, new music, new aesthetic. I thought he would have deserved it better, but I'm not going to discredit it for the pure fact that I was worried if we were going to get an LA Knight match or an AJ Styles match, and we got an AJ Styles match and LA Knight won. So I'm cool with that, man. I can accept it.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. I thought it was cool. It was a fun match. It was hard hitting. Again, it's just a fun time. I felt like if you look with the Jey Uso match we talked about earlier on, I think this had the real intensity about it. I was talking to Steely, who said the same thing. It does from This Week in Metropolis. He said the same thing about that. So I completely agree when he said that. So shout out to him for that. But all in all, for me, I'm going to go with like a 3-star for me. I think for this one, maybe 3.25.
Yeah, 3.25 sounds fair. I mean, I can't argue. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and I mean, I'm not going to argue more than that. Like I said, it wasn't a letdown. Like you expect one of the matches somewhere in the card to be like the match that just brings the crowd back down again. Nah, just they kept the same intensity that had already been going on throughout the night, and like I said, I can't argue with that.
Absolutely not. Sid does say AJ said he's looking to retire. He's looking to retire soon. But soon is the key word. Is not defined when that will be. It's coming, but if he's got this new music and stuff, his contract's still going a bit longer. I think we still might get another 12 months out of AJ Styles at least. But time will tell.
His Mania match next year.
Yeah, maybe Mania match could be his last one next year. But I'll tell you what, this was a fun time. I really enjoyed the triple threat match here. Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Obviously, we mentioned KO in the ECW gear. Logan Paul, again, in the same green-coloured attire. Looked really, really cool. Come out with his Prime truck as well, coming to ringside. Had the Prime sponsor. You knew KSI. It was KSI that was under there, wasn't it? It was underneath it.
It was Isho Speed.
Was it Isho Speed? Sorry. Apologies.
It was Isho Speed, yeah.
Yeah, because the KSI took the
he was at Mania last year.
He was at Mania last year, wasn't he? He took the RKO, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yes. So sorry, apologies. Yeah. So ISP was down there, but you knew it was going to be one of the these someone streaming that Logan Paul has his entourage there. It was not going to be just someone that's a regular old mascot under there. But the thing is, I just like as well. Kevin Owens come out with a buggy as well, and he reversed to get Randy Orton. And for me, it fit the story beat of the match perfectly because those two just have got on the whole time, and it was to the point where they got to a pinfall and was like, yeah. It's a triple threat match. I don't want you to win, and you don't want me to win. We're gonna have to fight. And they kind of realized that after about 5 minutes into the match, and I was just like, yes, like, just I don't know, it just worked really, really well. And then it became the traditional triple threat match, and it was just a fun time. Obviously, it got to a point where, like we said, the table spot with Randy Orton there with Speed with the Prime bottle. That was really cool. We've seen the brass knuckles involved from Logan Paul as well. They're hitting Randy Orton, hitting Kevin Owens as well. But Logan Paul was RKO'd. But the best RKO of the match actually came on Kevin Owens. There was going to be the pop-up power bomb and was transitioned into the RKO. It was a really fun-looking spot, which it then looked like Logan Paul was going to try and throw Randy out the ring. It was going to be countered, but then Logan Paul still threw Randy out anyway, and then a terrific, what looked to be kind of like a frog splash as well from Logan Paul to pick up the victory there. A lot of hang time onto it as well, retained the United States Championship. Obviously, it was the odd one out and managed to escape with the title.
Yeah, I mean, again, more of a predictable answer, I think, for a lot of people, especially with SummerSlam being in his hometown of Cleveland. That I think that's we've said that before, that he's probably going to keep that till then. If then, may even keep it longer than. But dude, just thoroughly enjoyed. That was the thing I appreciate about the entrance as well. I was going to say the fact that KO goes back up with the buggy to get Randy. No, I didn't feel any. Aside from obviously main event, no entrances felt longer than they needed to be. Everyone, for however long that ramp is, 40, 50 foot, wherever long, everyone's entrances were just bish, bash, bosh, quick, done. And none of them overplayed their stay, which I thought was great. Kevin in his ECW themed shorts was just fantastic. Loved that. Someone needs to tell Speed not to swear on TV next time, because he dropped about 5 F-bombs in a row, and it's kind of like, yeah, we're transitioning to that period, Speed. You've kind of transitioned it and gone 10 feet further than what we needed to be at the minute. I won't lie, I love the RKO to him on the table. Speed sold it like a trooper. The finish was great. The whole story with the Knuckle Dusters, just a thoroughly entertaining match. I really enjoyed this match. One of the best matches of the weekend for me, this one.
I would agree. I think this is at least a 4-star for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would go the same, man. Like I said, just thoroughly entertained, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And then the last match we're going to talk about, so we can just go to comments really, because we've gone through obviously the main event already. So we can talk about Bayley obviously defeating Io Sky to win the women's championship, obviously. And they were talking about how Io Sky had been underrated by a lot of people as the women's champion. And to be fair, I agree with those comments, those sentiments. The people she's defeated, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, en route to this championship match here at WrestleMania. Obviously, Bayley finally having a singles match at WrestleMania. I felt like Bayley hurt her knee early into the match. I was wondering if it was legit or storyline. Still haven't really seen anything else to it, but Bayley sold it really, really well if it was storyline. But Bayley, she had the knee smacked to the ring post, but she just got back into the match. She tries to hit the rose plant, obviously, and Io sort of counters it through. Io then tries to, she gets caught basically by Bayley, then hits like a variation of what that Bayley to belly is, a power slam sort of a move that was done. Did the elbow off the top rope, very a la Macho Man, and then hits her rose plant then to get the 1, 2, 3. And this was a different sort of match to what we've seen on the rest of the show. Obviously, this was more personal, it was more physical, and it felt like obviously the fans were hugely invested in this one as well. Bayley's song singing throughout the entire match. It felt like the UK troupe were really in town for this one with the Bayley, Will You Be My Girl? For me, this was a different flavor on this show, and I think what really made me most pleased about this, not just the result, not just the fact that Io had a great showing as well, but the fact of the positioning on the card for this match for me. It was the sub-main event. But the way that this show was done and how this WrestleMania was done, usually in recent WWE shows or when you look with the old era and stuff, this could be like the bathroom break, and it's like you put the match you don't care about. NXT shows and Triple H did them always made sure that the sub-main event was just as important feeling as the main event. You were being teed up to what was next. It was important to the most, or as important. And I really felt like this had an emphasis of like, she won the Royal Rumble, and this is an important spot. This is an important match, and this is it's not going to be a throwaway second match of the card. So for me, really happy with that, really happy with the result, and just all in all, I thought the ladies did a great job here.
Yeah, I mean, my only nitpick is that I would like to have had the whole referee throws damage control out from ringside kind of spot, because it was like they all come out together, and then they start walking, and then they disappear, and then Io carries on by herself, and I'm like, that was the only story beat that kind of was missing for me, because I was like, I wanted Bayley to overcome the odds. I wanted the referee to, for instance, catch them trying to cheat, and the referee throws them out, and then we get that one-on-one, and then we get the Bayley victory. But like I said, that's nitpicking. Yeah, dude, it's Bayley, man, and Bayley's just one of them cornerstones where you can't. I don't think you can find anyone that doesn't like Bayley, and the fact that this is, and they produced it with the video package. The fact that and through the commentary that Bayley's never won a title at WrestleMania. She's she's had her friends turn on her. She's again another great underdog storytelling, and the fact that the crowd was so invested in Bayley winning. You nailed it on the head. The layout of the match card just spot on. Like it didn't. The crowd never lost their step with any match through this whole night. And like you said, even with this Bayley match, which is kind of like it's not as intense and as probably fast paced as what the rest of the other matches are, but still story wise is a very key moment on this match card and just delivered throughout, man. Like I said, it's just. Right result, great storytelling. Aside from my one nitpick, I just can't complain. I cannot complain about night 2 of WrestleMania. It's just phenomenal.
I have to agree. I think all in all, like when you look at night 2 of this, I said it earlier on, and I'm going to stand by it. I think this stands up to every WrestleMania of all time. If you look back at it, I think if this WrestleMania was just this night and nothing else, I think you can make an argument. This is one of, if not the best WrestleManias ever. I genuinely feel that. All in all, if I have to give this match a star rating, by the way, I think this is going to be a 3.75 for me. I think this was a strong match. Would you say that's a fair rating? Would you give something slightly different?
I'd probably say the same, just because it was a really good match, but I think from an enjoyability, I enjoyed other matches more, and I think that's the only reason why I'm going to knock it slightly. For how as good as it was, I enjoyed other matches more.
I think that's fair. That's totally fair with that comment there. So let's ask you then. Night 2.
We did mention, forget one thing actually.
Go for it.
The KO entrance and Sami backstage.
Of course.
How the hell they turned around, and I was like, I kind of want KO to win there as well. And I was like, you sons of guns, man. Like, dude, phenomenal. Like, I was like, oh my God, Logan Paul is going to win, but I really want Kevin Owens. I was like, in my head, I've got Eddie and Benoit from, is it 20? Just like in the ring, confetti. And I'm like, KO and Sami can have the same thing here with the IC United States title. It will be amazing. And I was like, oh, curse you, WWE, for making me have feels.
The CD said the same earlier. It was like, darn it. And to be fair, it had that feeling, didn't it? I was with you. I wanted it to happen. I would have worn the KO t-shirt today. If it had won, that would have happened, but it wasn't to be on this one there. But yeah, it's good. Fantastic for remembering that moment as well. And of course, they did announce we'll be getting King, Queen of the Ring, of course, in May as well, which we'll discuss a later time of who we think will be walking away with those crowns. But WrestleMania Sunday, what would be your overall score out of 10 for WrestleMania Sunday?
They're going to book a page at a Ty Dillinger's book 10, dude. Like the ending alone, just 10, man. I'm never going to critique this pay-per-view, man. This night too, I'm never going to critique. Like, I can be nitpicky, but I'm never going to critique it, man. It's just fantastic. And like I said, I was texting, who was this? I was texting Jonesy, and I texted him after night 1. And he was saying to me, "Oh, I feel sorry for you. You had to stop and watch it." And I was like, "I do it to myself." But then I watched night 2, and I sat there and I was like, "That's the reason why I stay up till stupid o'clock in the morning watching this, because just phenomenal."
It was awesome. I'm going to give it a 10 as well. Like I said at the start of the stream, for those that missed it, this is
recency
bias, but also I think that you can make an argument here that the importance of how this show finished to what happened as well at the start of it, how it's played in the middle. There are beats in this show that are going to be remembered for a very, very long time. Some of them forever. Cody Rhodes winning that title and the celebration will be remembered forever. And I think for certain wrestling fan demographics, even older fans can feel this way. They're allowed to feel it as well. Someone's going to feel this is the greatest WrestleMania ever. Some are going to feel that. They have their WrestleMania X7 after this weekend.
If Scott Retro's in the comments still, I saw his tweet. He said he was crying, and he's like 38 years old. He was crying when Cody won, and that's how important this is, man. The fact that pro wrestling can make grown men cry because of a story is just, do you know what I mean? You can have your rom-coms and all this kind of stuff, man. I've been watching pro wrestling for 30 plus years, and there's nothing in this aside from maybe football that makes me feel this way. And dude, I can't. How can I argue with something that makes me feel this way?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's special. I had a big smile on my face seeing Cody do it, and I was like, I just felt a reward from everything. Like I say, I think Roman's been a fantastic champion. You know, people will say that, you know, like, you know, he's not been around all the time and all the rest of it, but everything felt important. And there was a moment when he was coming down the ramp. So I felt confident Cody was winning after night one, you know, the way they did it, because it was perfect as well. At the end of night one, Cody sat in the ring, the same imagery as WrestleMania 39, the way it finished. It was like, that was perfect. They captured that so amazing. It was like, he's got to be winning night two. They don't do that twice for him not to get it back. So I was confident. And I imagine how disappointed I'd have been had he not won. But I was like, Roman coming down to the ring, I was like, if this is the last time and this is it, I was thinking to myself, like, you know, it's going to be pretty weird not seeing Roman with that title. And I was like, I hadn't considered him not. I considered the change and Cody holding it, but I didn't consider Roman without it and what that's going to mean and the repercussions from it. But I'm excited to see how it's all going to play out. I think it's going to be fascinating. I'm really looking forward to it. And for me, if you compare the two nights together, we've gone for a 10, I've gone for a 7.5. So to go over overall, that's probably about 16.25. So I would say, is that right? No, it's not right, is it? 7.5, 17.5. Let's knock that into 2. Yeah, 17.5. So let's knock that into. I'm going to give it overall
8 3/4.
8 3/4, yeah, out of 10. That's your WrestleMania grade from me. I think that's as good as you're going to get in it for most WrestleManias. That's going to be up there with some of the GOAT Manias for me.
Yeah, and that's based on 2 nights as well. Like I said,
yeah,
when we did the discussion last year with 39, and I said if I could rate WrestleMania off night 1 alone, would be a 10, but you have to take night 2 into consideration, and it's exactly the same this year. Maybe one year we will get a perfect Mania that will be a 10 on both nights, but dude, like I said, it's up there top. Without watching them all from start to finish, like I said last time when we spoke about Manias, I'm quite confident in saying this is top 5, maybe even top 3 for me.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's definitely a top 5 Mania. Like you say, you could, in hindsight, in later time, may feel even better with it. But very quickly, just going to bring these up quickly. I want shoot fire answers.
Go for it.
Biggest OGM moment.
Undertaker.
I agree, Undertaker as well. Greatest entrance at WrestleMania this year.
It's hard to argue with Roman Reigns. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean Roman Reigns to me with the orchestra and everything. I just felt the power and just felt the way he was coming to that. It was awesome. Yes, it really felt like he was the final boss. Dare I say? Coolest look.
I'm gonna say Logan Paul, you know, because no, Kevin Owens, because I'm gonna stick up for that ECW gear because that gear was fantastic. But Logan Paul, a very close second, because I really liked his stuff this year.
I don't want to give the same answers as you all the time because I feel like we're just going to be carbon copy. I kind of feel him as well, Kevin Owens with the ECW look, but to be different, I'm going to go with Becky Lynch because of the fact she kind of looked like she had like the book and like, you know, some of the writing stuff on her ring gear, and I thought that was pretty fun. So yeah, we'll go with that. Best feel good moment.
Oh, it's Cody, brother.
It's Cody. I think the moment he hands the championship to Mother Rhodes, that moment for me was like that's everything. That capture that in the bottle for me. That's pro wrestling perfect there. Match of the night or match of the weekend.
Can't go against Cody.
It's Cody.
Cody again, dude.
Cody and Roman. You can give more. That's match of the year. No, I'm not having anyone say different. It's match of the year.
They've just had the Slammies. That match is going to win. OMG moment, match of the year, superstar of the year. Just give them all the awards now for next year.
I have to agree. MVP of the weekend.
Seth freaking Rollins, because that dude put on a display this weekend. He had that phenomenal showing on night 1. He put Drew over on night 2. He came back in the Shield attire. He was part of Cody's celebrations. Seth freaking Rollins is MVP of WrestleMania 40.
I kind of can't disagree with that. And I know it's boring for everybody that I'm like agreeing, but it's just it's the right answer. If it's the right answer, I've got to go with it. So yeah, I will agree with that indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're quickly going to go with a couple of comments just before we go off. Sid, respect that you fancy Samantha Irvin. We're both happily married men, so we won't be answering that part of it. But we're a fan of Samantha Irvin as a ring announcer. I think she's the best.
Dude, like I said, she has in the last year, she has made herself a character in WWE from her ring announcing alone. And to do that as a ring announcer, like I haven't liked a ring announcer since Lillian Garcia. So the fact that I rate Samantha Irvin in the same bracket as Lillian Garcia for me is just phenomenal. And dude, like I said, when Cody won and she broke down crying, dude, it set me off, man. Just the emotion was beautiful.
Yeah, for me, I have to agree. I think she's freaking amazing. And I'll take this one as well because Zayn, you asked how much wrestlers get paid. I don't know the answer to that. It will vary as well between wrestler to wrestler. Yeah, money, I suppose. Yeah, but not the answer you want, I'm afraid. But I'll be happy that WWE will be on Netflix instead of TNT Sports in the UK. Asked Sid.
Didn't bother me because I have TNT for free, so and I pay for the network, so I never really lost out. Otherwise, I'd jump in. I could enjoy it every week. But dude, I suppose on the plus side, if I've already got Netflix, it's just one less subscription I have to pay for to watch it, so I'll take it.
Same for me. I'm happy with it being on Netflix. I'm looking forward to being on Netflix, and I'm hoping all the tape library goes with it. If all the tape library goes with it, then I will be very happy with it. If not, then maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's the only thing as well. But I think as well, once it moves to Netflix, I think we're going to really get a more adult-based content because the fact it's a paid subscription to watch that. And I think that is where WWE will go backwards to like the Ruthless Aggression era stuff.
Could do indeed. It seems to be heading that direction. I always said they probably wouldn't do it because of the sponsorships and stuff, but it is going that direction. Maybe they will just vary out. Maybe the early hours of the same
Cody
stuff.
sponsor this weekend was a vodka. Do you know what I mean? So adult-based sponsors. So who knows?
I have to wait and see how it's going to play out. Well, last thing then, I'm gonna literally just do this for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna give just my thoughts and theories, and NXT can give your thoughts as well on it. Raw after Mania tonight. We talked about Chad Gable earlier on. So for those that have seen that, if not, go back and check it out. Chad Gable, we think, will challenge and get his favor, win the IC title, and turn heel on Sami Zayn tonight, who is a vulnerable mess. Other things I think potentially we could be looking out for tonight. Obviously, Cody could be looking for a new challenger. I wouldn't be surprised if Tama Tonga made his debut tonight and goes for Cody, and that's the build for them to going into the next show. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that I think that a refresh of the bloodline is something I could see potentially happening. I think we could get some returns tonight. I would keep an eye out for the likes of Sheamus. I'd keep an eye out for the likes of Braun Strowman. They've been gone for a very long time, so I would not be surprised to see them come back. As for NXT call-ups, I've not seen Stand and Deliver, so I can't comment too well, but someone like Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, both are ready. Ilya Dragunov would be ready for the spot as well, so it's who they want to call up. I do think Lyra Valkyria is someone that potentially could be called up as well, especially as I think if Becky Lynch isn't going for a main title, I could see her and Lyra going for tag team titles at some point further down the line. And as well as that, look at the injury status of wrestlers as well. Potentially wrestlers that have been out for a long time, injured, could come back. We've talked about NXT call-ups. We've talked about debuts. Jacob Fatu is another one to keep a lookout for as well. And we mentioned the IC title could be vulnerable. The Raw tag team titles could be as well. Awesome Truth. How long will they hold them for? I'm not sure. It's very long. Suggested the Creed brothers. Chat everyone suggested Judgment Day. Let's see what happens. But I think it's going to be a fun show tonight. I think that this could be one of the, if not the hottest Raw after Manias for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking down a quick list here. I mean, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, depending on how they are with their pregnancy stages, if they're ready to come back, you have those two. Depending on, obviously, Big E's situation, if it's a possibility, maybe he could come back. Obviously, I'm not going to force the guy to come back straight away. I know Charlotte's still out for a while. Anyone else otherwise? Yeah, I mean, I'm just really expecting it to be like I'm hoping Sheamus comes back. Maybe Sonya Deville's not actually a bad shot either.
That could
But
happen.
like I said, Sheamus is the one I really want to come back. I think that after everything that's happened with that guy in the last 2 years, like the way he's changed my opinion on him, because I was never his biggest fan, but watching his stuff with Gunther and with Drew, and then he had the Mania match last year, and like his journey for that IC title needs to happen this year, I think, and that's my one prediction. I think for the next 12 months is that Sheamus will finally win that Intercontinental Championship.
It would be interesting if that was to go down that way. And I would like to see that storyline play out as well at some point this year. I mentioned potential different bloodline arc or something for Cody to do in the meantime, but hopefully Cody could even have a fresh direction. Could you see, and this will be the last question I asked for, is if not as bloodline, who could it be? Someone like Gunther?
Gunther seems like the obvious choice, but I would rather them save that for a bigger stage. I'm just trying to think logically. I wouldn't be against Randy. I wouldn't be against Jay if it's kind of like on a mutual respect kind of term.
Of course, yeah.
Hell, maybe even Seth, because it's just one of them things. Like there's a load of babyface names, but with heels, there's not that many aside from Gunther I can think of off the top of my head who I consider and go, that should be the next guy to face Cody Rhodes.
It could be a case as well. We said Chad Gable's looking for a favor. Seth probably could ask for a favor after this weekend. We've called him MVP, so certainly a Cody versus Seth match one more time. A Backlash actually would be quite fitting, I think, for there. So it is pretty cool stuff. Sid asking if we've met each other in real life as the last thing. Yes,
we went to school.
We went to school together, so yeah, we did indeed. In fact, we even were together All In last year. Not sitting in the same seats, but we did travel to the show together as well for AEW All In. But we're going to wrap things up there, I think. And hopefully we can give some more bits and bobs. Hopefully you can get a couple of shorts from this out. We'll see, perhaps in the next 24 hours or so as well. But massive thanks to everyone that's been involved in the chat. You've all been awesome. If you hit the like button, it really helps the channel a long way. If you want to know our thoughts about the main event, if you missed it, go back to the start of the video. We talked about for about 25 minutes. But NXT, been a big pleasure. And thank you for coming on.
Dude, it's been a fun ride this last, God, I don't even know how long I've been on your channel for now. To sit here, and we've sat here many times and we've gone through predictions every time, and we've talked about Roman losing that title, and we've been there with Cody on this ride for, is he going to, finish the story? And here we are, April 2024. The story is finished. Or is it? To be continued.
A new once one story closes, a new story begins. It's interesting to see how it's going to play out starting tonight on Monday Night Raw. It's going to be fun to see. Just saying as well, keep an eye on the channel this week. Steve and I are going to predict WrestleMania 41, the match card. Which is going to be quite fun. Me and him are going to put together two cards together, and we're going to put that out. And then in a year's time, we can see who got closest. I imagine, but you'll probably have a few same matches as well. So that will be a pre-recorded video. Should come out this week as well. I'm looking to do a couple of draft-related videos as well along of Backlash in France predicted as well. So expect a few videos this week, and then hopefully as we go in towards the end of this week as well, you should hopefully get to vote for the Backlash Rewind stream as well. So make sure to keep an eye out. You can get voting in the polls for that as well. And we may even do a match watch along as well. But that's all from us. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. And we'll see you for the next video. And if you want to see more stuff in the meantime, there are plenty of WrestleMania themed videos. The 40 Years of WrestleMania Watch Along series. We did as well. What if every WrestleMania was 2 nights? We've gone with 2 main events. We've gone with that second main event. Very popular video. Every WrestleMania ranked. So go and check those out in the meantime. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you.